The Washington Nationals have been replaced with a new MLB franchise. Allow me to introduce you to the Louisville Longballs. As the GM of this team, I only care about two things: winning and hitting home runs. Big moment for the young star, and he smokes one! In this video, I'm going to set out to win a World Series, but I'm also going to set out to break the all-time single-season home run record. Currently, the most home runs in a single season for a team is a tie at 307 between the 2019 Twins and the 2023 Braves. And by the end of this video, we're not only going to be world champions, we're going to be at the top of this list. But that is going to be a lot easier said than done because our current expansion roster is full of a ton of old heads and washed up veterans. Not to mention we're new to the league and have one of the lowest budgets with $129 million available to spend. So we're broke and we're also a long way away from the goals we want to achieve. But with those goals in mind, let's begin building the most powerful baseball team of all time. Before we jump in today, you know I gotta do it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and consider subscribing. Much more content to come, and I want to reach 1,000 subscribers before MLB The Show 26. Where do we even begin here? We are 27th ranked and bad at everything. And I showed it in the intro, but this roster is terrible. None of these guys are really going to be long-term options for us. Now, the MLB roster is full of some expansion guys, but in the minors, there are guys like Harlan Susana who are left over from the Nationals. There's also Brady House here in AAA, but I don't think any of these prospects are really good enough, and I don't plan on using them in this video. We're going to try to find our own guys. In the case of the guys who aren't retired already in real life, we are going to try to make some trades here this year, only if they have some value and make sense. Now, power is expensive, and we are pretty poor right now, so we need to grow our fan base and grow our revenue in order to be able to afford the guys that'll help us break this home run record. And let's start by adding some sponsorships. Of course, Louisville Slugger will be our main sponsor. So we need to trade some guys, we need to make some money, and we're also going to need to scout and draft players with high power, which is going to be a challenge, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. But for right now, it's time for opening day, the first game in long ball history. And our home stadium is Oak Street Park, which is pretty hitter-friendly. Jose Quintana is our ace this year and our opening day starter. And we are taking on the Phillies here in the first game in team history. Here's a full count pitch to Trey Turner. And that's popped up into left, and that'll be our first out. And there's our first strikeout as Quintana lands this heater at the top of the zone. Our future stadium is still under construction, so for now we're playing in a minor league ballpark. Things would start to turn in the second as Quintana gives up a run. As I mentioned in the intro, there are not many promising players on this roster as Verdugo goes down looking, so this first season might be a bit of a struggle. All these old heads' contracts will eventually run out or they'll retire, and we'll be looking to replace them with new young talent excited to come to Louisville. But so far not much excitement for us as we are getting no hit through the first 3 innings. Hey, there we go, that's some hard contact, but right to second base. I think if anybody has a shot to be here longer term, it's Nick Senzel, who at least has very good power against lefties. Here is Iglesias at the plate. And he's going to bloop one out into right, get down, there's our first hit. Definitely not a home run, but history nonetheless. Kyle Schwarber is a guy that I'd like to sign, and I believe he becomes a free agent after this year. Not many guys currently in the league with more power than him, as that is roasted into left. Finally, the Phillies go to their bullpen, but Kerkering is pretty good. JD Martinez at the plate. We're in the 7th with a runner on first and 1 out. And Martinez rips one into left, and that's over the wall for the first home run in long ball's history. Here's Adam Duvall, who's got some pretty good power against lefties. And that is hit hard up the right field line. Stay fair. And it does. That's gone. A go-ahead solo shot for Duvall. So now we just need our closer, David Robertson, to shut things down. He strikes out Castellanos. That's 1. 3-2 to Bohm. And he strikes him out. And now just 1 strike away from an opening day victory. And there it is. The Longballs win the first game in franchise history. And with the home run from Duvall and Martinez, we've got 2 on the season, but I don't think we're going to get 308 this year. And after that victory on opening day, we would go on to sweep the Phillies, and we've won 4 straight. And now we take this series from Toronto and head into play Arizona, where we've taken 1 of 2, so we're actually 6-2 to start the first year. After that good start, let's now turn our attention to scouting. And if you've seen my rebuilds before, you know that I typically look for players with a build like this: high contact, vision, and discipline. But in this rebuild, we need to do things a little differently and look for players with more power like David Chan and Fernando Torrero. That being said, contact is very important too, so I'm not opposed to somebody like Carlos Sanchez who has contact and power. Let's start by looking at Sanchez and then go from there. Nothing changes on the pitcher side though, we'll still be discovering and scouting starting pitchers by region. After that great start, we struggled a little bit in the second week of April, losing 4 of the 6 games. And Carlos Sanchez is promising as he moved up the board and the plate skills look really good. We bounce right back the next week though and win 5 of 7 games and we're 13-8, tied with the Mets. But as of right now, we are tied for 22nd with 19 home runs as a team. For comparison, the Mets are already at 35. I think I've found my new favorite pick as David Chon looks like he might be generational. The 19-year-old left fielder moved up to 2nd in the class, and his hitting stats look pretty good, and they're descending from top to bottom, which is the biggest giveaway. So with that figured out, it's time to start looking later in the class. I found another prospect with high power here, Prince Nieves at first base. He's got the build we're looking for, but his potential is a little bit low, so I'm not completely sold on Prince. A couple weeks into May now, we've started to fall back down to earth, and we're currently just 1 game above 500. But unfortunately, pretty much our entire starting lineup is beginning to regress. The only guy improving is Nick Senzel. With that power against lefties, I've got some hopes for him. Maybe he'll stick around for a little bit, but his defense is not good, and he's taken up the DH spot, which is very important for power. Now on June 1st, we're below 500, and I'm going to start looking for some trades. JD Martinez and Adam Duvall have been our best home run hitters, and they've also been our best overall hitters, and it makes sense to trade them while they've got some value. JD doesn't really have a whole lot of value at the end of the day, and we're not going to be able to acquire any guys with pop, but at least we can send him to Colorado so he can continue hitting homers. For Adam Duvall, we'll grab Nick Lofton, who is a platoon bat and utility player, and he should continue to get better, and he's got lots of team control. So far, I haven't found too many great position players, so I've decided to fire our pitcher scout and add another position player scout, and I'll continue to see what I find in Discovery. One day from the draft, the Phillies are now in first place, and we've stayed right around 500, 47-48. We're not exactly hitting home runs as we're ranked 27th with 75, but surprisingly, we're 2nd in the league in ERA. Quintana's been excellent in the starting role, as well as Anthony Desclafani, who might actually be a piece of this team for a little bit. At 34, he's still improving, and he's got a 4-year deal. And we're definitely going to want to trade Edwards Jr. at the deadline, as he is a free agent after this year, and he is pitching very, very well. Scouting did not go very well here in year 1, but thankfully we found David Chon, who I believe is generational and will definitely be my first overall pick. After that, I've got 2 Discovery outfielders. Rafael Ramirez has good plate skills, but the power's kind of lacking. And then Chris Estrella is a center fielder with high speed and great contact. He can play right away, but he doesn't have the power, and he might regress early. His overall and his potential range are pretty much right on top of each other, so I don't know about Chris. Maybe we'll take him in a late round. We do have the power-hitting first baseman Prince Nieves on the board. He might be taken in the 2nd round, but I'm not sold on him. And then after that, it's going to be a ton of pitchers. And I have a couple good Discovery guys like Samuel Gill here, as well as Jose Fernandez ranked 15th. So let's get this underway, and with the first draft pick in Longballs history, David Chon is coming off the board. Mr. Chon, welcome to Louisville. Why does he still have the Nationals uniform on? My Discovery center fielder Chris Estrella got taken 29th, so we're not going to be able to get him. And in round 2, we're going to pass up on Prince Nieves because the potential range is just not there. I know I mentioned that already. I want to find power guys, but I also want to find valuable prospects. So instead, I want to take my favorite non-Discovery starter, Carlos Caraballo. He's 22 years old with a very high potential range. With the 45th pick, Carlos is coming to the Longballs. And as I sit to the 82nd pick, my board has gotten completely wiped out. All that's left is 2 Discovery starters, and they're not the best. So I'm already headed back to the draft board, and I'm going to take a shot on this closer, Ronnie Baca. And now my other Discovery starters are off the board. This is going terribly. We do have some other guys, but I've not really scouted them, and I've got no clue if they're going to be good. We might as well take the best guy we've got left, Discovery right fielder, Richie Velasquez. And now we'll take a shot on a shortstop, Ken Stokes. And this is not going well. There's only a couple of guys left on the board. We'll probably have to go for another shortstop here, Matthew Hillman. He might be awful, but we really got screwed in this draft. I don't think I've ever had all my guys wipe off the board like that quickly. Carl Edwards Jr. is headed out the door now, and once again, we can't get great return from him, but I do think that TJ Walton is decent. He's got some room for growth, and we don't want to lose Carl Edwards for nobody. For Jose Quintana, the Diamondbacks will give us Ivan Melendez, who does look to have some power. He's not on the 40-man, and he's not Rule 5 eligible yet, so he's got some time to continue to develop. This feels like a decent deal. Let's make this trade. We've still got a couple pending free agents that we could try to trade. Let's see if there's anybody we want to get. Will Vesta's on the block, and the Tigers are willing to accept a trade for Jose Iglesias. This is a great deal for us. Vesta's 78 overall with beat potential, 29 years old, and he has 2 more years left of ARB. He should be able to help out the bullpen for a few years at least. And with that, I think I've made all the trades I've wanted to for this season. We've been able to clean up some payroll, but there are still a lot of very concerning contracts here. Miraculously, we're still hanging around 500 as we get to August, and it's now time to view our draft picks. I've got no idea what to expect here. Oh my god. Considering the fact I was completely flying by the seat of my pants for the last 4 picks, this is incredible. Let's start with David Chon, who, as I expected, is generational, and he is looking very good. He's coming in with 72 power versus left and 67 versus right. He'll be able to lead the charge for us for World Series titles, but also the home run record throughout this entire rebuild. That is an incredible way to start this rebuild, and in the second round we picked Carlos Caraballo, our only starter, and he has 93 potential. When in doubt, go for a guaranteed high potential closer. You can see that Ronnie Baca's potential range was 80 to 99 without any scouting, and he came in at 92 with exceptional Ks per 9 and good stamina as well. However, we'll definitely need to develop the clutch as well as the hits per 9 and home runs per 9. Richie Velasquez ended up being our worst pick in the class, but he still has 84 potential and great speed. And thankfully, Ken Stokes and Matthew Hillman both came in with high potential, but they are massive projects, as Hillman is 48 overall and Stokes 49. Looking around the league, there's not too many guys that we missed out on, although there was a better closer, Kenny Stiles, available. What a start to season 1. Let's go ahead and sim to the end of this season, and then we'll start focusing on preparing for next year. Quickly, before I simulate ahead, I do just want to show you that I extended our guy Will Vest for 3 years. He's pretty pricey, but I want to make him our closer, and he's still got room to develop. I can't really put him in that role right now, though, because David Robertson, despite regressing down to 68 overall, has been unbelievable, 1.85 ERA. So there we go, we finished season 1, 78 and 84, which is so much better than I thought was even possible. We're not going to make the postseason this year, of course, but I cannot believe how good a lot of these old heads ended up playing, like Anthony Rizzo, who is somehow continuing to develop, but obviously he's retired in real life, so I don't really feel comfortable bringing him back. I'm going to have to release a lot of guys and try to find some trades, but we will hang on to somebody like Nick Senzel, who I called out earlier. And I do still somewhat believe in Nick Lofton, who we traded for, even though he didn't really have a great year. He doesn't have much power, but he's a good utility option. And even though DeSclafani finished the year cold, he pitched to a 2.85 ERA in 190 innings. Rizzo did end up being our home run leader with 16 and McCann with 12. Then you've got Senzel and Verdugo each with 10. In order to reach our goal of 308, though, we need 10 guys to hit over 30 home runs. And we're starting from the very bottom to try to accomplish this goal, as we were dead last this year with 115. But it wouldn't be any fun if we were clubbing 300 homers right out of the gate, so let's get into the offseason and see what kind of moves we want to make. We're not going to offer any contracts to these 3 exclusive free agents, but we are going to offer some contracts to some new coaches. And for the coaches, I'm going to look for guys who can add power like Chad Roman. So after last year's surprising success in our first year, there is some hype around the franchise as we look to rebuild. And our budget's jumped up to $146 million, so we've got some more to play with. I think it was at like $130 last year. And we'll try to do our best to clear up some other payroll with guys that I think are fair to trade away. And that includes probably our highest paid player, Spencer Turnbull, a starter making almost $8 million a year. I could find some cheaper pitching than that. Looking at free agents here, I see that James Wood, for some reason, did not get picked up. Obviously, in real life, he would have got picked up by a team, so we will avoid him, as tempting as it is. There are some older power hitters available, like a Marcel Ozuna, and also Eugenio Suarez. There's also Kyle Schwarber, who's only 33. He's not far from regressing, and he slugged 45 home runs last year, so I'm interested in trying to bring Schwarber in. That'll at least get the ball moving in the right direction as we start to chase some power here. I'm also interested in Michael Conforto, who has reverse splits, and I threw Nate Lowe on the board, who got DFA'd in real life. Could be a decent reclamation project for us. We'll come back around to look at some pitching in a little bit, and in the Rule 5. I'm going to trade Spencer Turnbull and David Robertson, who is regressing a lot but actually still pitched very well, over to the Rockies for a C-potential long relief pitcher with really high walks per 9. We are about to lose so many guys to the Rule 5 draft that I legitimately might have to find like 40 players to fill out our squad going into next year. Well, after a few weeks, Kyle Schwarber is at 64% motivation, and the other guys are above 50% as well. Let's test the water with Schwarber at 2 years and $12 million. After releasing all the guys eligible for the Rule 5 draft, we're now down to only 55 players. And we need to get to about 90, so I guess it's only 35 guys that I need to find. Alright, Schwarber, what do you think? He's in? Just like that, the biggest free agent signing in Longballs history. We found our DH and a very apt signing for the Longballs, 99 power versus right, 83 versus left. And now for Nate Lowe. Welcome back. Nate Lowe's power isn't exactly there yet, but he does have some room for development and he has nice contact. And for only $4.6 million a year, I feel like he's going to be a good player. Our generational left fielder is going to be on the way up, but I think Conforto would be a nice bridge while we wait for Chan to develop. He didn't get a lot of playing time last year, but we can see that in 24 he hit 20 homers. Well, safe to say he didn't love our first offer. But we'll try him again, and now let's start looking at some pitchers too. I'm tempted to take a shot on Walker Buehler, even though he didn't pitch well last year, but he only got 20 innings. Decent walks per 9, upside, let's throw him on the board. Alright, second try with Conforto, still not interested, I am lowballing him like crazy. We've only got a 0.9% chance at the first round pick, but let's simulate, you never know. And we're staying at pick 13, which is kind of a bummer this early into the rebuild. But at least we were somewhat decent last year for our new fans. Oh, taking a look at the Rule 5 draft here, and the A's scooped up Christian Scott from me. This guy's a recurring character in my rebuilds. I really wanted to get him. We might have to trade for him. Let's look through and see who's left here. Definitely the biggest upside pick here is starting pitcher Hunter Barco. The only problem is he's got to be on our 26th man, which means he's got to play. That's how it goes with the Rule 5 guys, but I think I can hide him in a long relief role. Kind of just a high risk, high reward type of play. We'll see how he develops, and there was one other guy here that I was looking at, and that would be Nicky Lopez, who has no pop, but there's really bad options for shortstops in the free agent market. Even though he's not super thematic, I think he's an important pick. If you lowball a guy enough, eventually he will join your team. We traded for Ivan Melendez last year, who's got some power, but I don't really need him, and you know that I need Christian Scott. We've still got a lot of spots to fill on this team, and we've actually got more room in our budget, so I want to throw Aaron Savali on the board. He's coming off a great year, and he's asking for a 2-year deal at $15 million. And for our catcher, I'm looking at Victor Caratini, who at least has some decent pop against righties. Aaron Savali is in. Walker Buehler is in. And Victor Caratini is in. For the pen, I'm interested in Andrew Kittredge, Joe Ross for long relief, and then the lefty, Ryan Yarbrough. Joe Ross is in. Andrew Kittredge is in. And Ryan Yarbrough is in. And with that, the pitching staff is all set, and I think they'll be decent next year. And then for our lineup, we're running a very heavy platoon. We've got 8 lefties in the lineup against righties. And we've still got a ton of lefties in the lineup against lefties, but guys like Michael Conforto and Nate Lowe hit lefties well. Kyle Schwarber will be in the 3-hole, and then we bring in a couple righties, Nick Senzel and Derek Hill. It should be an interesting season. I can't say I have a ton of confidence, but the Longballs are brand new to the MLB, and we're just getting off the ground. Good news is we've started to build a very strong farm system after just 1 year. David Chan, of course, is the #1 prospect in the MLB. He is generational. Don't sleep on number 5 ranked Matthew Hillman or Ken Stokes here at 11. And just below them, we have Ronnie Baca, the closer, and Carlos Caraballo, our most promising starter. So we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on those guys, and for spring training, we finished dead 500, 13-13, not bad. It is opening day, and this year, the Longballs face off against the Dodgers to start the season. This is quite literally hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Ohtani's going to be on the mound. Last year, we had 115 home runs as a team, and this year, I'm hoping that we could reach 150. That is my goal. Expecting a lot from Schwarber. He's one of the best power hitters in the game, and certainly the best on our team. And he starts the year with a well-hit ball, but it's popped up. And Aaron Savali is going to be our ace this season. He had a 3.82 ERA. The 1.43 whip is a little high. This is my first time making custom uniforms and making a custom roster in general, so looking at it now in-game, I don't love them. I thought I added a little more flair when I built them, but I guess not. At least I do like the logo. Savali facing Ohtani here, and he strikes him out. That's a good start to the year. One of our heavy platoon guys this year is going to be Jonathan Aranda, who had a breakout 2025 with the Rays. In the roster I'm using, he's definitely underrated, but he still has good stats against righties. Here's a 3-1, and that is drilled into the left center field gap. Not quite the gap, but that's our first hit of the year. So far, so good from Savali, who's only given up 1 through 4. That's pretty good against the Dodgers. But unfortunately, the Longballs only have 1 hit so far. I'm not liking our chances of an opening day victory, and there's a grounder from Verdugo. And just like that, we're down to our final strike on opening day, and that's going to do it. Not only did we not have any home runs, we didn't have any runs, and we only had 2 hits. But I am glad to see that our pitching staff held the Dodgers to just 1 run. That is a positive. We do bounce back to split this series against LA, but then we get swept by Colorado, and we've lost 1 of 2 against Atlanta. With the 13th pick, we won't be able to get anybody towards the top of the board this year, but hopefully we can find somebody with some power as well as some good starting pitchers. We finish out April at 18-15, and our division is very close so far. Schwarber had an excellent month, hitting 10 home runs, and Conforto has 6 so far. And I also see Will Vest with a .61 ERA in the closing role, but he does have 3 blown saves. He's only given up 1 home run, so I'm a little bit confused. Maybe if you inherit runners, you can also blow a save? I don't know, but either way, good start for Vest. Unfortunately, the starting rotation has not been great though, as DeSclafani, Savali, and Buehler all have ERAs over 5, and Buehler's is close to 7. And as far as scouting goes, I found another option in right field, Eddie Drew, and he does have a power build, although the vision and discipline is pretty concerning. Between him and Francesco Cruz though, I'm hoping that we can get either one of them in the first round. Coming into this plate appearance, Nick Senzel just needs a home run to complete the cycle. Here's the payoff pitch. And he rips it, but that's not going to be a homer. Nice to see him playing well, though, as he's got a 1.0 OPS so far. And as I take a look at the home run rankings, we're currently tied for 13th with 53. I'm still struggling to find good power options in this draft class. There's a lot of contact builds, but I did find PJ Winkler, who's got guaranteed high potential, and he at least has above average power against lefties. That's about as good as I've been able to do so far because most of the mid to late round guys have contact builds like this. The good news is we found the second-ranked pitcher in the class, and he's Discovery. Geronimo is 18 years old with outlier walks per 9. I'd love to get this guy. Somehow Schwarber legged out a triple in this game, and this time it's his turn to try to hit a homer for the cycle. And he smokes one up the left field line instead. We'll take that. We've still got 2 runners on here with the chance to tie this game up in the 9th, and there we go, Caratini! 445 to right. That's nuked. 113 off the bat. Listen to that sound. Felix Bautista is certainly not an easy guy to make good contact off of as he strikes out a Ronda, but we're headed to extras. And our best reliever, Will Vest, comes in the 10th, but he immediately gives up a 2-run shot. That would have been a signature victory for the Longballs, but instead the Orioles take this one. And after that loss, we're currently at 32-28 on June 1st. And right now we're tied with 3 other teams for a wildcard spot. Immediately after I record that clip, we lose 4 straight, and now we're just 1 game above 500. Meanwhile, we found another good Discovery starting pitcher with high walks per 9, Kazuhito Oka. Super cool name and very promising profile. The way things are shaping up, we might be taking some good starters in this draft. As we head into this season's draft, we're 50-45. We've been right about in this spot for the whole season. Right now we're still in a wildcard spot, which is good to see, but it's a very close race. As far as our home run totals, we're currently at 97, so in 22nd place. Kyle Schwarber is certainly leading the way as he's got 23 and he's tied for 7th in the league. This is going to be a pretty interesting draft, and I honestly don't know which way I'm going to go with it. My 2 favorite position players are power hitting right fielder Eddie Drew and contact hitting right fielder Francesco Cruz. I've got 3 discovery options here, left fielder Cervantes, shortstop Osborne, and third base Baker, and then 2 potential mid-round plays with a catcher and a right fielder. The real strength of this draft board, though, is with the starting pitching, as I really want to get Kazuhito Oka. And then we've got Phil Bentley 2nd in the class, Pablo Marquez 3rd, and Jose Geronimo 5th. I doubt we'll be able to do as good as last year, but we should at least be able to get some good players. Well, we lost some of my favorite options, including Pablo Marquez, Francesco Cruz, and Josh Jennings. And now I'm in a tough spot because Eddie Drew does have some power, but it's still not even that great. I really want to grab Kazuhito Oka. I love this guy. Even though he's Discovery and could fall down further in the class, I just don't want to miss up on this guy. Unfortunately, we lost Johnny Cervantes here with the 40th pick. He's off the board. But starting pitcher Phil Bentley is still here, who is ranked 2nd in the class. He looks like he could be a future ace, and I want to draft him here. Unfortunately, that might have been a mistake because I lost all my other position players. And I'm running out of time, so I just need to pick my favorite starter left, which is Jose Geronimo, ranked 5th in the class. That was unlucky to lose all those guys, especially the Discovery ones, and now I'm left with only pitchers, so I need to go back to the class. It's time to take a flyer here, and how about second base Hector Sanchez with a contact build? Now I'm going to take another Discovery starter, Lionel Parnell. He's got a pretty low potential range, but he is a lefty with high walks per 9, and with that stamina, I think he could eat a lot of innings. And with our last pick, I've got to take another flyer on first baseman Ryan Terrell. That did not go exactly as planned, but we did get some really good pitchers. Unfortunately, Ryan Terrell ended up being injured, but I didn't have high hopes for him anyway. We've got 2 All-Stars this season with Kyle Schwarber in as a DH. And then we've got Victor Caratini for catcher, which is kind of surprising. He's got 8 home runs and 37 RBI, but he's only batting .246 with a .657 OPS. Well, we've lost 5 straight right around the break here, and we're now down to 500, so I'm not sure what to do yet at the trade deadline. Right now we're taking on San Diego, and we lose the first game, and we lose the second game. And it looks like we've continued to take a lot of L's, so we've got to try to trade some guys away. A lot of the lineup has gotten cold here, although I do see that Caratini's hot right now. And we could probably get some decent value for him as teams are always looking for catchers. I do see Jason Foley on the block here, and he's got pretty nice stats and room for growth as well as a cheap contract. And the Tigers are looking for a catcher, so this is a perfect match. Let's make this deal. We'll be able to have Jason Foley for a while, and I think he should be good to the back end of the bullpen. The bullpen's actually been decent, but really the rotation has kind of let me down this year. Savali's got a 4.64 ERA, and I was definitely hoping for a season more like last year. Desclafani's taken a huge step back as his ERA is 2 points higher than last season. Christian Scott still needs to develop, and I see that Walker Buehler's got a 4.5 ERA. I do see someone who is doing pretty well, and that is David Chon. He is adding lots of power as well as rounding out his plate skills in AA. In 79 games, he's got 26 homers and he's slugging close to 600. The long balls are going to need this guy. As we slip to 6 games under 500 and in second to last place, it's now time to take a look at our draft picks, and that is looking great. I'm glad that I took Oka. I thought he would have a little bit higher potential, but 89 is nice, and the stats look pretty good. But surprisingly, Phil Bentley was even better, who we got in the second round. He's got 96 potential, and he looks amazing. I cannot wait to develop Phil Bentley and get him into the show, and I could say the exact same thing about Jose Geronimo, who has 90 potential and also looks fantastic. With these 3 guys getting in the farm system, the outlook for our starting rotation is now phenomenal. Our last starter, Lionel Parnell, is about all I could ask for as he came in towards the higher end of his potential range, and he has outlier walks per 9. As we know, he was left-handed and he's got super high stamina, and if we can develop him for a little bit, I think he's a great 5th starter. Now, I love the builds of all of these pitchers, but the other good news is that they're extremely valuable in trade, so if we want to acquire some power, they'll be able to help us out. As far as our 2 position players, they're both kind of disappointing. Hector Sanchez has 84 potential, and at 50 overall, it's a very long shot that he'll make the show. Maybe he can develop quickly, but he's probably more going to be organizational depth. And then lastly, Ryan Terrell probably would have been pretty good, but unfortunately he was injured, so he's now 40 overall. I think that's a new record for me for the lowest overall starting out that I've ever drafted. He's got 88 potential, but I don't think that's going to matter. Ryan is probably never going to play. PJ Winkler was on my board as a second round option, and I am a little bit bummed that I didn't get him. He's got high potential, and he does project to have some good power. Eddie Drew, the power-hitting right fielder, ended up with 88 potential, and the contact right fielder, Cruz, has 87 potential. I think the best player in the class is probably second baseman Eric Barton, who has some power, and he's also got defense and speed. He looks really good. Someday I'd like to acquire this guy. So the good news is we've got some incredible pitching talent on the way. The bad news is we're not very good right now. I am happy with the performance of quite a few guys at the plate. Schwarber, Senzel, Lowe, Hill, Aranda. A lot of guys are platooning, but they are doing pretty well. I would like to see a little bit more out of Michael Conforto. We've got him for 1 more year at $5 million. He's not delivered too much yet. Nicky Lopez is about what I expected, playing great defense and developing nicely at shortstop. 663 OPS, but he's got almost 2 more here. Could be a decent piece for us. Alec Thomas is a little bit more of a long-term project. We've got him for a few years, and he's developing nicely. Again, just in a platoon role, really, against righties. And that's kind of how I did things this year, and I think maybe one of the best examples here is Derek Hill. See potential, but great center field defense, and I only have him hitting against lefties, and he's doing well. 739 OPS. Maybe you'd want a little bit more for a platoon bat. As a new team with new ownership and new management, we did make a good splash with Schwarber on the roster, but we want to make a bigger splash next year for sure, especially with Chon coming up, who I'm now going to move to AAA. And while I'm here, our other high potential prospect who we got last year, Carlos Caraballos in AA, he is developing nicely, but we do want to see more in terms of ERA and WHIP before we move him up. Positive signs here from our closer from last year, Ronnie Baca, who's rounding out his skills nicely, and he's got a 2.23 ERA, so he is getting close to AAA. All right, let's get through the rest of this season here, and maybe we make a run, but I'm not exactly planning on it, and we'll head towards the offseason. And we're not making much of a run. It's September 1st now, so got all the way through August, and we're still 5 games under 500. We're not bad, taking steps in the right direction. And speaking of steps in the right direction, you saw me move Chan to AAA, and he's hitting even better there than he did in AA. Final record here in Season 2 is 79 and 83, not bad. We started with a roster full of old heads, and this year we brought in a bunch of new guys to test them out, and let's see if there were any standouts here. Schwarber only had 35 homers this year. He was our best hitter by production, 115 RBI, but 34 homers is kind of disappointing. I was expecting 40 or more, to be honest. Nate Lowe got injured for a little bit, but he still had over 500 plate appearances in 140 games with a 778 OPS and 2.4 WAR. He was one of our best all-around players. I think we're showing some promise here on the pitching side. Joe Ross, I don't know why he only got 32 innings pitched. That is strange to me, but he did impress during that time. We've got him for another year. Need to figure out why the CPU was not giving him many innings. Will Vest here had a 2.53 ERA, 45 saves. Really, the whole bullpen was good. There's some guys to build around here, and I see that Walker Buehler was good this season with a 3.65 ERA. That is great, especially because we paid him only $5.5 million, so really happy with that. Barco we took a swing on in the Rule 5, and he actually did a lot better than I thought. Almost 100 innings at a 3.79. Whip is kind of high. He's got options, though, so I want to send him down probably to the minors next year to keep developing. And then the rest of our guys were okay. Christian Scott, still improving. We know he'll be great. And I don't think I can ever have Zach Jackson in a uniform for one of my teams again. We've tried this twice now. Not great. And as far as home runs this year, we came in at 20th with 167. I think I set the goal at 150, so we definitely got there. And we'll go ahead and chart our improvement in terms of home runs here over the course of these seasons and see how we climb up the ranks. Number 1 this year was the Mets with 250. Vientos, Soto, and Alonso, 3 really good power hitters there. I see the Braves tied for second, but a long ways away from their record of 307. And I see our ERA right here in the middle of the pack, 17th. 3.83, not bad. We've got so much good pitching talent on the way that we have to look forward to. All right, let's sim here to the offseason. Let's see who's going to take home the title. It is the Dodgers. Can you believe it? And here you can see the guys who are going to be free agents for us. I don't know if I'm going to bring any of them back. One of them is Senzel, who does have that power versus lefties, so it is tempting. He had 10 homers in 93 games, though. I think I'm going to pass on everybody here for now, and we'll take a look at everyone else in free agency along with those guys. Maybe we'll bring somebody back. Our budget is slowly climbing up. We've now got $171 million in revenue coming off of last year, so we've got a little bit more room to work with. We've already got $78 million on the books, but there's plenty of room here to make some interesting roster additions. We might look at adding some short-term pitching help, but as far as power-hitting guys, there's a couple of options for us. Actually, a few. Brandon Lau, coming off of a nice season in Baltimore, played every single game, 162, 631 at-bats, almost an 800 OPS with 27 homers. Could be interesting at second base, so let's throw him on the board. But I know that we definitely want to throw Pete Alonso on the board. As far as power, you're not going to find guys better than this. 36 homers last year, 39 the year before. My only concern is that his defense is bad, and we've already got Schwarber locked in at DH, so Pete is going to have to play first. And at 2 years, $14 million a year, that is kind of a steal. In real life, I think this year he's probably going to get something like $20 million a year, maybe a 5-year deal. There are some decent middle-of-the-road pitcher options here too, but we'll come back to that. Another position that we can really improve is at catcher. We traded away our starter last year who was on that 1-year deal, and Ryan Jeffers has pretty nice stats. Similar with Pete, I don't know if I necessarily love the defense, but I do like the power against lefties. Let's throw him on the board. New team, new owners, new market here in Louisville. It's time to start making a little bit of a splash. We're hunting some big fish. By the way, just as a note here, I am not keeping any of these good prospects that were with the Nationals already, like Brady House. He's up for the Rule 5 now, so I'm going to let him walk. So we're truly building this farm system from the ground up. That's how I want it to be for this video. You know, I put Pete Alonso on the board, but I'm not sure that's actually going to work out. I forgot we've caught Nate Lowe here. Sorry, Nate. We've got him for 2 more years on a really good deal, and I believe in him. I think he's going to hit more than 15 home runs next year. He's not going to hit the amount that Pete's going to hit, but I think he's honestly maybe a better, well-rounded player. And then we've got Schwarber at DH, which I mentioned, and I don't want to put him in left field. That's a bad idea. Looks like we've got some competition here. Neither Belau or Jeffers is above 50% after week 1, and it seems like other teams are going to be interested. I think those are the main 2 guys I want, so hopefully we can send a good deal. Well, push is coming to shove here. Didn't get the chance to go another week, so we've just got to put some kind of deal in here for Ryan Jeffers. Let's go for 3 years at 13. We'll see how it goes. Definitely not liking our chances here. What's it going to be? Yep, it's phones. And he is headed to the Pirates. Okay. Well, we definitely need a catcher, and I think I'm now interested in both Alejandro Kirk and Jonah Heim, but I'm going to go with Jonah Heim. He's pretty good in this roster. Haven't signed this guy before. After that draft class from last year and Caraballo from the year before, I think we might have the nastiest AA pitching rotation of all time. All right, looks like we're going head-to-head against just the Cubs here for Brandon Lau. Let's go ahead and offer a deal. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, 2 years at 14. If we could pencil him in for 22 to 25 home runs, especially at second base, that would be fantastic. Now, I've already mentioned that we've got a stable of really good starting pitchers coming up, which is exciting, but we do need to find an ace in the meantime, and I'm looking at Shane Bieber. Great stats, very well-rounded, and he's coming off of 2 very solid years, former Cy Young winner. 4 years, $20 million feels pretty fair, so I'm going to throw him on the board. All right, contract decision here for B-Lau. Looking for pens, we got phones. And he's going to the Cubs. What did I give him? 2 years, 14? They give him 3 years, 12? If I knew then what I know now. Right now it's pretty bleak in the infield, so we need to go back to the drawing board. I definitely want to offer Jonah Heim a contract, and he is not asking for a whole lot. I'm actually going to bump him up a little bit, and we'll go for 3 years. There's not many infielders I like in the free agent market, but how about the trade market? Maybe we could buy low on Christian Campbell. He's still a work in progress for sure, but he has 0 MLB service time and A potential. I need somebody that I can plug in now, but unfortunately we have to give up one of our best prospects for later, Matthew Hillman. Now we have both Hillman and Ken Stokes, who both of them I like, but Ken Stokes does not get the job done, so we've got to go with Hillman, and I'm willing to make this deal. All right, Jonah Heim. He's in. And that's a big upgrade at catcher because I currently had Riley Adams in the starting role, but instead he's going to become our backup. Also need to get active in the reliever market, so I threw Drew Rasmussen and Alex Vesia on the board. Highly unlikely we're going to move up here, but we do have a 1% chance at the first pick. I still have never moved way up and gotten super lucky. Will this be the time? No. I'm always going to take a look at the Rule 5 draft, and I see Jose Hernandez here, left-handed reliever, on a pretty cheap deal. We'll take the chance on Jose. All right, we need to get our ace in here, and there is a lot of competition, understandably, for Shane Bieber, so we'll bump this up a little bit and offer him 4 years at 21. And we were the first competitive offer. That's huge. Come on. Show me the pens. Yes. Shane Bieber is a long ball. That is a huge upgrade for our rotation that I feel decently confident about. If Desclafani can have a year like he did in 25, I'm going to feel a whole lot better. Rasmussen is in, and Vesia is in. Now again, in real life, Rasmussen is a starter, but unfortunately in this roster, he is a reliever with only 49 stamina. But last year, he put up 120 innings at a 3 ERA, so I'm feeling really good about him. It is opening day 2027, and a new face of the franchise is here.
Mike, first time, long time. Have you heard of this David Shawn kid?
Now this guy, David Shawn.
You have to talk about David Shawn.
He's a 5-tool type of player. Really excited to see what he does in the major leagues, and we'll see what team makes the right decision of picking him up.
We're talking about such a promising young career for this guy that the sky's really the limit.
Absolutely unbelievable prospect. We've never seen anything quite like him.
A true 5-tool player with upside that we haven't seen since Mike Trout or Aaron Judge.
I mean, I'm seeing him in the minor leagues. He's unreal. He's hitting all over the field. We gotta call this guy up. I'm so excited to see him play the game.
That's right. We got David Shawn TikTok edits in here.
Here's the first draft pick from 2025, David Shawn making his MLB debut with a pop-out. There's a lot of hype around him in the league this year, as you heard, and he'll be hitting in front of Kyle Schwarber this year. And for the team as a whole, I am setting our target at 200 home runs. Here's Shawn again. Oh, got him leaning. Tough guy to debut against Hunter Green. Shawn is not a big guy, but he packs a punch, especially against righties. Very excited for him this year. He'll continue to develop his stats against lefties, I'm sure, but early signs show that he is going to be a reverse platoon guy, as he's right-handed and absolutely mashes righties. So far today has been a pitcher's duel, as Bieber and Green have gone back and forth until Stuart Fairchild, of all people, hits a 3-run shot. And that brings up David Shawn, looking for his first career hit, but that's not going to be it. Down 4 in the bottom of the 8th here, but we've got 2 on for David Shawn. 3-2. And he draws a walk, which means we have the bases loaded for none other than Kyle Schwarber. This is our moment. 2-2 pitch. Oh, he reaches for it. Unfortunately, it is a disappointing opening day as we are shut out by the Reds. We still have a lot to look forward to this season. Now would be a great time as we're down 2 in the bottom of the 9th with 2 runners on. David Chon with the liner into right, and there it is. The first career hit in what will be a storied career. Needless to say, a very concerning start to Season 3 here as we are 1-8 out of the gate. Not good so far, but I do see that David Chon has 2 homers and 4 RBI. So he looks to be hitting the ground running, but basically everybody else is struggling. Starting to bounce back a little bit here. We're all tied up against the Padres, bottom 10, 1 out. Getting off to a tough start like this definitely hurt as Schwarber rips that, but that might be a double play, and it is. Now we're down 1 in the bottom of the 11th with the bases loaded. And a Ronda soft looper to center. This could be a close play. Merrill's throw home is offline. Showing a little bit of fight here. Nicky Lopez can walk it off. And he's going to ground it to short. You got to hustle. Oh, it's thrown into right. And we're going to win the game on that. That is exactly what we needed right now. The Longballs steal that one to put us at 7-11. So we are bouncing back. And we would go on to win our next 3 games. So we're back up to 10-11. And Jonathan Muriel here does not have high potential, but he does have great power. Interesting possibility. He's also a switch hitter. We do also have this pitcher, Pablo Almanza, who looks fantastic and has moved way up the board. So those are kind of our early signs on the scouting front. Really strong outing from Desclafani so far today. He's got a shutout going into the 9th, and he's only at 78 pitches. That's lined, but right at Nicky Lopez. 1 out. Definitely not a question of stamina if he can get this done today. He's been very efficient with his pitch count, and that is grounded to third. And there's 2 outs. I almost signed Nolan Gorman this offseason. He's got 91 power versus righties. His other hitting stats were just not good enough for me to justify it, and he strikes out. And that is a complete game shutout. Really good signs there from Desclafani, who's one of the only guys left from the original roster, and so far he has a 1.95 ERA. Bieber's been pretty good with a 3.03 ERA, and then I see Walker Buehler at 2.74. The lineup's not been that great, and David Chon did hit the ground running, but he started to slow up a little bit. We need more out of him. Really struggled with this draft class, and I honestly did not even organize my board this year because I have no idea what I'm going to get. I did not find a single really good position player that I want to take, and then I've just got a ton of pitchers who rose up the board, so could be a lot of pitchers again this year. I don't mind it too much. It's a little frustrating, but I can always trade the pitchers for other position players that I want. I don't really have that many good discovery pitcher options too, so I need to just take the best player on my board right now, which is starting pitcher Derek Jones. I do think he's going to be really good. Just tough taking a starter in round 1 after all the starters we took last year. I'm going to get weird here in round 2 with the 51st pick and take this really good looking closer, high potential guaranteed. For pick 89, I did find a gem catcher here, Antonio Ramirez. We'll go with him. I'm going to take a shot here on a first baseman. Did not scout Hidalgo. We'll see. I'm going to do the same thing here and take a shot on a third baseman now for pick number 149. And finally, we'll grab a discovery starter. This feels like a really bad draft. This year has really not gone as I planned it at all, as we're now 4 games under 500. I do see that Nate Lowe, David Chon, and Christian Campbell are all hitting pretty well. Chon is improving a lot. Already up to 86 overall, 20 homers at the break here, 832 OPS. That's great. The pitching staff has been really good, so I want to try to supplement this team with some kind of hitter. Nate Lowe is an all-star this year, his first career appearance, 17 homers, 50 RBI so far, and he is our only representative this season. It's really just not going too well offensively. We're right in the middle of the pack here, 16th in runs scored, but we are 5th in ERA with Shane Bieber leading the way. I'm going to believe in David Chon to be our franchise player for a long time, and I'm prepared to give him an offer that reflects that. At 10 years, $27.5 million per year, David Chon is going to be here for a while. And this is part of why I didn't want to get too many salaries on the books this season and get too many contracts in, because I knew that we wanted to buy in on Chon. Outside of Chan's debut, this season has been pretty disappointing, and especially the outfield. Verdugo's not playing that well, and neither is Alec Thomas. I had to move Michael Conforto to the bench against righties because he has been hitting so badly this year. And same with Derek Hill, who is only here to hit against lefties, and he's not even doing that well. So I'm going to try to look and see if I can make a trade and find an outfielder that can help us out. I see Heston Kjerstad on the block here that I'm interested in. He's got a few more years of arbitration left, B potential. We're going to be losing Conforto next year anyway, and I'm going to package in first baseman Andres Chaparro for the Orioles, and let's see if this makes a difference. We've got to shake things up a little bit because the top of the order is doing pretty well, but the rest of the guys are just struggling. So let's see if Kjerstad can give us a little bump. All of a sudden, we've got a little spark in us, and we've won 5 of our last 6 games, but we're down in the 9th against the Brewers. Nate Lowe at the plate. He's been really good the last couple of seasons, and that is hit hard up the left field line. That's going to get down. Throw to the plate is in time, but we do tie it up. Devin Williams on the mound with that nasty airbender changeup. 3-2 pitch here to Schwarber. Is hit hard out into left. Back to the track, to the wall. It's gone. It's a long ball for Schwarber. We need him to get hot. That is great to see going oppo. Good approach. Just a moon ball. Will Vest back out for the 10th, trying to close this game out. 2-strike pitch to Fry, and he got him. All of a sudden, there's a little bit of mojo here. We're back up to 53 and 54. Right now, we're 1.5 games out of the wild card, so very much in the hunt here. We swept Milwaukee, and then we end up getting swept by Baltimore. So we're back to 3 games under 500, and it's time to take a look at our draft picks. I wasn't expecting a whole lot, and got about what I was expecting. Breaking it down, I am all right with our first 3 picks, especially the first 2. Derek Jones here at the top is 75 overall with 88 potential at 18 years old. I probably just want to give him 1 year in the minors and he'll be ready for the show. So I think we're pretty set on the pitching side for the future, and we also added a great closer here in Juan Valbuena. Similar to the closer we took back in 2025, I believe it was, who has very high Ks per 9 and pretty good stamina as well. For a project catcher, Antonio Ramirez is okay. Would have liked to have seen A potential, and he is 51 overall, but it's good to get a catcher in our farm system. And then the last 3 picks here are disappointing. Joaquin Hidalgo, 83 potential, 47 overall, probably not going to factor in. Similar for Reynaldo Perez. Ken Strawberry, maybe, but again, best case scenario trade pieces for all 3 of these guys. As I flip through the draft class here, I have not seen a lot of high potential players here at all. This is a good first baseman. There's a lot of B, D potential. Oh, okay, the Rays look like they nailed it. Robbie Gehringer's got elite defense and speed in the outfield. He's looking pretty good. Not a great August for us, and we're slipping down to 5 games under 500. The long balls are disappointing right now. One guy who's not been disappointing at all is David Chan, who's got 32 homers and 90 RBI, and he is the frontrunner for Rookie of the Year with Christian Campbell right behind him. That'll be a positive takeaway for us, but this season is just not what I expected. I definitely thought that by now the long balls would be much more of a force in the league. David Chan just had a 3-homer game, so he continues to be really impressive, but as we work our way through September, it's not really going too well for us. We're continuing to take L's here. It's frustrating because we had a really nice year for our pitching staff, which I mentioned, but the offense just was not there at all, and we finished this season 76 and 86. Now, excitingly, David Chan is the NL Rookie of the Year. 37 homers, 103 RBI. Look at the development this season. 835 OPS for Chan and 3.1 WAR. Once that defense gets better, he's going to be unstoppable. And with Chan winning that, we'll get an extra draft pick next year, which is fantastic. At 20 years old in his rookie year, he was our best hitter. Nate Lowe was also good. We'll have him next year. Schwarber disappointed me. He finished this season with 25 homers, and this is the end of his contract. Christian Campbell we're going to have for a while. I think he'll be a cornerstone of the team. And then we've got Kjerstad. We'll see what he can do. Hyde was disappointing at the plate most of the year, but he kind of turned it around towards the end. Looking at us as a team, we finished at 16th with 179, so a good bit short of our goal of 200. I think I'll set 200 as our goal again for next season, but I'd love to take a much bigger leap than that if we can. So for next year, as the Mariners defeat the Phillies, for next year, we've got to make some much bigger moves for this team. We're losing a lot of important players, so we're going to have to be active in free agency and probably the trade market as well. Of course, we're going to miss Schwarber, but I'm really bummed about losing Buehler and Lopez. We really revitalized Buehler's career here in Louisville. The other guy I'm going to miss is Nicky Lopez, who doesn't have the power that we're looking for, but he's done everything else so well. Great on-base percentage and great defense. Very valuable. But I would like to find a better bat at shortstop next year if we can. Editor Brody here. I lost a great clip where I traded for Corey Seager, which sucks because it felt like a turning point in the rebuild. But either way, we just made a huge upgrade at shortstop. I was able to get him for some of our young pitching talent. He's on a very expensive deal. The Rangers were going through a rebuild, so I was able to make this work pretty easily. And that is a huge upgrade for us at shortstop. We made that Seager trade, and we are ramping up this year. The free agent that I'm looking at is Alex Bregman. Got some good power versus lefties. Think he can hit 20, 25 home runs. And we definitely need some help in the infield. We also are going to need some short-term pitching help. I'm looking at Marcus Stroman. Looks to be a cheap option. He is 36, but he improved last year. And we know we've got a really talented pitching rotation on the way, so we just need some guys for short term. And how about we bring back Walker Buehler, who was excellent. I'm going to wait to make a move on him, though, because we've got a lower budget to work with now that we took on that big contract from Seager. Offered a year of ARB to Kerstad. I want to see what he's got. I don't think I've had him before in a rebuild, so let's see what he can do at the plate. Not great last year, but I like his stats. Also offered deals to Nick Lofton and Jonathan Aranda, who are really good depth pieces and pinch hitters. I want to try something else in center field, though, this time. I like Derek Hill's defense, but at the plate, he is just unacceptable. We've got so much starting pitcher depth, it's time to use some trade capital here, and I need a DH next year. I think I want to go with Santander. 34 homers in 155 games, 46 in 2025. Let's see if he's any better than Kyle Schwarber. It's just us and the Giants for Bregman. He's at 54%. I think I'm going to hold off for one more week and risk it. But I will offer a one-year deal to Buehler in the meantime. All right, Buehler coming back. And here is our rotation for next season. Bieber at the helm once again. Scott, Buehler, Stroman, and DeSclafani. We'll have to keep our eye on DeSclafani this year as he is starting to regress pretty heavily, but he did pitch well last season. Bullpen is pretty much exactly the same. I traded for Tristan Beck, and I also signed Jose Hernandez to a 3-year deal. And the lineup is close. We just need third base and center field. And there's some more interest for Bregman now, and I definitely want to bring him in. So we're going to offer him 2 years and bump it up just a little tiny bit. Big moment of the offseason right here. And we got Pens. With Bregman, that is another certified hitter on this team. This lineup is looking really, really good with Lowe, Chon, Seager, Bregman, and Santander at the top. We're making some really big moves. And finally, the ownership is spending a lot of money as we've only got $9.7 million available and our payroll's up at $200 million. We've used up a lot of the budget. I'm struggling to find a center fielder. I think maybe our best bet is utility guy Mauricio Dubon. Unfortunately, he's not in the top 150, so I can't really give him exactly what I want to give him. I have to sign him for 2 years, but that's okay. I also signed Chandler Simpson as a bit of a wild card here. He only wanted $60K per year, and look at that speed. Should be fun. He'll help make us more dynamic, but I absolutely love our lineup this year. If we get a similar year like last year out of this rotation, the Longballs should be headed to the playoffs for the first time. And I mentioned it a few times already, but we are only about a year away from the most talented pitching farm system in the league starting to make their way up to the majors. Real quick, in the Rule 5 draft, I am going to grab Cole Carrick. He's got a lot of positional flexibility, and he can also catch with pretty good defense. There is so much to look forward to this season as we get into opening day of year 4. So far, the Longballs have had a disappointing start to their franchise. But with the new core of Chon, Seager, Bregman, and Santander, we are making a playoff push this season. Nate Lowe's been our leadoff hitter for a few years now. He's been so consistent, and he's got that great on-base percentages. That is ripped into left field, and it's over the left fielder's head. Surprising that the Rangers wanted to move away from Seager. They must be going through a rebuild of their own. Full count pitch right down the middle, and he swings and misses. Another new face in the 4-hole here with Alex Bregman, who hits that hard but flies it out. Bieber's back as our ace. He was excellent last year in 202 innings, 2.89 ERA. 13 balls to 9 strikes for Bieber so far in the first. There's a 3-2 to Sawinski, and he got him. And that is hit hard out into right. Looks like it's going to hang up, and it does right on the track. From Schwarber now to Santander. Hopefully he can rake this year for us. We've got him for 2 seasons, kind of a high price tag for a DH, but hoping that he can hit something like 30 homers for us. I was trying to bring in Brent Rooker, but I couldn't make a trade for him, and Santander I could, but that was not a good swing. Bieber seems to be settling in here pretty nicely as he's now through 3 scoreless. Bregman at the plate now, 1 out in the 4th, and he's on base. Javier's been dicing the long balls up so far today. Heim, that's a good swing. Deep into left center. And it's caught on the track. The good news is we've run up his pitch count. He's at 88 now as Dubon grounds out. And Bieber's been able to keep pace so far. Should be a good opportunity for us to get on the board here as Chan rips a single through the left side. Seager would end up striking out, and now Chan's going for second, and he's in there. Bregman could bring home a run with a base hit here, and that is ripped. Deep into left, to the wall, caught on the wall. So close to our first home run of the year, and now it looks like Bieber's in trouble, and 2 runs come home, and now we are into our bullpen. All of a sudden, we're down 3-0. Santander, this time from the right side, smokes one. Deep into left. See ya. A no-doubter, 112 off the bat from Santander. And that is home run number 1 of the year. Jonah Heim with a rip into the gap. We're getting something going here in the 7th. Campbell scores from first on the double, and we're only down 1. Back to the top of the order with Lowe, who has a little soft one into left, and that's going to get down. Runner's going to go for it. That's aggressive, and it's not going to work out. Seager looking for his first hit as a long ball, and that's going to be one. Back deep into left. That's off the wall. This is how I drew the offense up as well, because Chandler Simpson is now on second, pinch running for Seager, and Bregman with a line drive through the right side. Simpson will easily score. Just like that, we've come back, and it's a tie game. We might not be done yet in the 8th. There's 2 on for Campbell, and he's going to line that one over the first baseman's head. Bregman coming around to score. It's 4-3. Now 1 strike away from an opening day victory. That's a lazy pop-up into center. It's going to drop. And now we're going to the bullpen for Foley to try to finish this off. Once again, just 1 strike away. And this time, we get it done. We would win the opening series against the A's, but get swept by the Phillies, and it's a 3-5 start to 2028. There's a couple of exciting power bats towards the top of the board this year with Evan Castellano in the outfield. And then we also have this first baseman here, Samuel Saldana, who's ranked 8th in the class, and he looks really good as well. So we'll scout Saldana for sure, and this year I'm really focusing on position players. We've got a deep farm system for pitchers, but we need some more positional talent. Taking on division rival Phillies once again, we're in the bottom of the 13th tie ball game, bases loaded. Marathon of a game, especially considering you start with the runner on second in extra innings and Heim strikes out. We're going to the 14th. Games like this are huge for your momentum, especially when it's in division. We have another golden opportunity to walk this off, but unfortunately Chandler Simpson is at the plate in the bottom of the 14th. He does not have good hitting stats. He is here to be our pinch runner as you see the speed on the right side. Maybe he can find a way to put some good contact on it. He cannot. And that means we are headed to a 15th inning. And the Phillies have the middle of their order up. Jason Foley pitching for us, and he gets 3 more outs. Seems like no one wants to send us home today, but Christian Campbell's been seeing the ball well today. Long throw from third. It's in time. We're headed to the 16th. This reliever on the Phillies is only 69 overall, but he has been giving us trouble in extra innings, and we are going to the 17th. This would really be a backbreaker to lose this game, as Vesia is in for the 17th, and it's a clean inning. Nalo is 0 for 6 today, but that's lined to third, and it's caught. He's a little better against righties. Can he find a way to put something in the outfield here? He cannot. We're going to the 18th. And I have now been recording extra innings for over 15 minutes as the Phillies take the lead in the 18th. Bregman with a double. We're all tied up once again. And for the 25th time, we've got a chance to walk it off here. Heim at the plate, but he strikes out. This is absurd, and it would really hurt to lose this game as the Phillies take the lead in the 19th. This is officially the longest game I have seen in franchise. Simpson's had a really good at-bat. 3-2 pitch on the way, and that's a walk, and we've tied it back up. Alex Bregman, please send us home. Oh no, that might be a double play. You gotta hustle, and we're going to the 20th. I'm losing my mind here. This is getting ridiculous. This clip's been like 25 minutes, and that's a 2-run shot for the Phillies. And I'm simming my way through. We've got a run here on a single from Kjerstad, but the Phillies defeat us 11-10. That one really hurt. To not be able to get that one done at home was really frustrating, and we end up losing that series to Philly. All right, we're getting a little bit of mojo here. We win this series against LA, we win this series against Cincinnati, then we win another series against LA before taking the first two from Milwaukee. So we're back to 19 and 21. Santander with 15 homers, Kjerstad with 8. These are the top two on the team. Chan is there at 7. My main concern right now is DeSclafani and Stroman in the rotation have been really bad, and they're both regressing. Our starting pitching talent cannot come up soon enough, and Derek Jones might even debut this season. He's looked good in AAA so far. We'll be monitoring the situation. Been a mixed bag on the scouting side as we get into week 8, but we just found a very exciting prospect, third base Juan Ortiz, and look at the power profile. I am praying that this guy is as good as he looks. We've made our way back to 500, and I have exciting news. Juan Ortiz looks awesome. Finally, we're playing well as we've gotten up to 34 and 31, and we vaulted into second place. The lineup is hot right now, especially Santander, who is on pace for a career year. Most importantly, though, the pitching rotation is starting to figure things out. Stroman and DeSclafani are both hot right now, but Bieber is cold, and he is struggling. I've also decided to make Jason Foley our closer this year. He's got more clutch, and so far Will Vest has just struggled. 17 and 5. Last year was 38 and 10 blown saves. Everybody's been pretty good, though, so no complaints in the bullpen so far. So at the end of June, we're tied for first place with the Phillies. And by the way, we are leading the league in home runs with 135. It's great to see that, but I have to say it might be a little bit tougher than I thought to get to 308. How about this? Our guy, Christian Scott, just threw a no-hitter. 9 innings, no hits. He did have 4 walks, but he just shut down the Yankees. And this is why I sign this guy every single time. He develops into an unbelievable starting pitcher. And even though he's 77 overall, which is 10 lower than Bieber, you can see as I flip back and forth how similar their stats are. We are in first place, up 3.5 over the Phillies, and we've won 5 straight as we're about to head into the draft. And I have to tell you that the board ended up being pretty exciting. It got off to a rough start, but I'm liking our options. Power hitting third baseman Juan Ortiz is my favorite option in the first round. He is definitely the perfect fit for a long ball. He is discovery, but I probably won't take the chance of missing out on him. That is if he falls to our 9th pick, which I do think is likely. After that, we've got a catcher here, Miguel Aquino, who moved up the board a lot. He's defensive first, but I don't mind that. I've got another discovery player here, second baseman Brian Ha. Also defensive first, but does have above average power. And then I found 2 power hitting first basemen, 21-year-old Luis Rodriguez and 20-year-old Robert Spanos. After that, we've got a few late round options. And then as always, we've got a bunch of really promising looking pitchers, although I am focusing on position players for this draft. So the countdown for Juan Ortiz begins. Just waiting on the Angels. Unfortunately, Robert Spanos did get taken, but we did not lose Ortiz. I am not even going to hesitate. He is my favorite first round pick in a while. Now, Chan won us the Rookie of the Year last year, so we get a compensatory pick at 31, and I'm just hoping that we got some good options left here. And we do have some good options left. Brian Ha is still on the board, but I kind of want to risk it and wait on him. I really like this starting pitcher, Richard Metzger, who moved up the board a lot to second ranked, and he has high hits for 9 and high walks for 9. I know we've got a lot of pitchers, but I can't pass him up. It's really hard for me to pass up this starting pitcher, Juan Santiago, with guaranteed high potential. But I am going to do it, and I'm going to take Brian Ha, defense and power at second base. And somehow Santiago is still here. He was 80th ranked to start. He's 10th now. We're going with him with pick 89. For pick 119, I am going to go with James Chang. I think he's going to be a pretty big project, but he reminds me a little bit of Chandler Simpson. It might be fun. Now we're going to go starting pitcher here for 149. I can promise you this guy's going to get traded. I don't really like his build. And exact same thing here for our last pick. We're going for another discovery starter who I'm probably going to trade. I am super excited about this draft. I cannot wait to see how the picks are. We got our no-hitter this year. Can we get a cycle? David Chan needs a triple. Even though Chan's been incredible, I've entered a lot of games with him up, and I've gotten super unlucky, and I haven't seen too many hits like that. It's a single, not going to be a cycle, but good to see it. And the Rookie of the Year from last year is up to 90 overall, not developing as quickly as I thought, and he's currently got an 855 OPS. We know that his ceiling is way higher than that. So far, we are getting an insane performance from Santander, who right on cue hits a bomb. This guy has been out of his mind. That is number 33. He just cannot miss at the plate right now. Christian Scott, of course, is an all-star this year. Another one of my favorite guys, you probably recognize him, Xavier Curry. I didn't get him yet in this video, but really why I'm here is to flip over and see Anthony Santander. He's playing so well that his potential's gone up to A. He's batting over 300, slugging over 600, OPS of 1.036. What a season so far, and I see that David Chan, right behind him, was selected to his second straight all-star appearance. It is so fun to see this team putting things together. And by the way, Santander's leading the league in home runs by 8, and I see Corey Seager in 4th. With David Chan here in 8th, I think we've definitely accomplished our goal of being the most powerful team this year. In order to get to 300, we need 10 guys to hit 30, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I just brought up a bunch of our promising pitching prospects to AAA to see how they do, and I see that Derek Jones is pitching very well. With Desclafani struggling right now and regressing heavily, I think it's time to bring Derek Jones to the majors. While I'm here, I could show you that Stroman's bounced back a lot to a 3.80 ERA, but Buehler and Scott have really been carrying us. Buehler having an unbelievable year. Foley's also been great as our closer, up to 82 overall, and he's 16-3. We're playing great, and I look through the trading block. The only spot that we really would be able to improve is center field, where Dubon is playing, but there's no good options. I tried to sign Buxton, or trade for Buxton for a year, but he cost too much for his last year of his contract. So we're going to rock with what we got, and hopefully we can keep playing well. August 2nd, we're now 20 games above 500. We've taken a huge leap this year, and I am so excited to view our draft picks. I've got a really good feeling about this, and that is looking good. First and foremost, Juan Ortiz, 89 potential, and look at that power. I have been dying to find a prospect like this for the long balls, and finally, we've done it. I can always acquire guys like Santander, but it is much harder to get prospects with this kind of pop. I cannot wait to get this guy on the long balls. He is going to be a face of the franchise right there with Chan. Needless to say, this is a very exciting prospect, and so is Richard Metzger. I didn't want to take this many pitchers or take one this early, but I could not pass up Metzger, and I'm glad that I didn't. Look at how good that build is, and he's got 91 potential, future ace. Now, even though Brian has the lowest potential of our draft picks, I actually like him quite a bit. Great speed and defense in the infield, and he's got some power as well. Thankfully, Juan Santiago fell to us. I knew for sure that he would have high potential, and he does. He is a project, though, 20 years old, 59 overall, but he's left-handed, extremely well-rounded stats with 96 potential. James Chang is a little bit disappointing, 87 potential. He does have great speed. I think the Chandler Simpson comparison was pretty apt, although obviously Chang has a much higher ceiling. That is in this roster, at least, because I do believe in Chandler Simpson in real life, for sure. And then the last two guys that we took here are just pitchers who I definitely plan on trading. Let's keep pushing forward through 2028 here. It's been a great year so far. We're still in first place for home runs. I do see the Dodgers right behind us. We're at 165, not going to reach 300. But leading the league for a season would be a great start for the long balls. Now on September 1st, we're 22 games above 500 and 11 games in front of the Phillies. And checking in, we're currently at 208 home runs, and Santander has 47. One of the best seasons I've ever seen out of somebody who is not generational in this game. And as we head into the final series against Philly, we win game 1, we lose game 2, and the last game of the season, we find ourselves up 1 in the bottom of the 9th trying to hang on. Jason Foley assumed the role of closer about 2 months into the season, and he's been okay. He has blown a few saves, but overall he's been pretty good. There's some weak contact by Chapman. That's going to fall. Chan's throw to the plate is not in time. We're tied. Foley would get out of the 9th, so we're headed to extras. Backup catcher Riley Adams strikes out. And in the bottom of the 10th, James Wood would walk us off. Despite a blown save in the final game of the year, we win the division with a record of 92-70. And we'll be taking on the Reds to start the postseason. Could not have asked for a thing more from Anthony Santander this year, who won the Hank Aaron as well as the MVP. Incredible season, finishing with 47 home runs and 138 RBI, dethroning Shohei Ohtani. And the good news is we'll have him for next year as well. By the way, if Christian Scott wasn't already my favorite pitcher in this game, he also just added a gold glove. Nate Lowe got himself a Silver Slugger. He had 37 home runs. And David Chan got one. He had 36. And despite all of that, we only hit 240 as a team. Don't get me wrong, we led the league, and that is awesome. Exactly what we're trying to do here. But we're still so far away from 308. After Chan, it falls off quite a bit. We're going to have to figure out how to hit more home runs at catcher and in center field. Before we head to the postseason, let's look at the pitchers, and Derek Jones, our rookie, was unbelievable. At just 18 years old, he had 77 innings and a 1.62 ERA. He's going to be a big part of our rotation. The bullpen was really good. I also see that Walker Buehler came in with an ERA under 3. Since we revitalized his career, figured might as well bring him back, and he did not disappoint. Bieber and Stroman also figured things out, and our worst pitcher ended up being Hunter Barco, who we're probably not going to need anymore next year. What a season for the Longballs. Let's go to the postseason. Here's our playoff rotation with Bieber as our ace, Scott and Buehler 2 and 3, and the rookie Derek Jones as our 4th starter. I moved Stroman to long relief. And in Game 1, we face Hunter Green, who we've seen before. Welcome to the first playoff game in Louisville's history at Oak Street Park. I am kind of surprised that we are in the wild card after winning 92 games. We are one of the better teams in the league. But definitely happy to be here no matter what. Let's see if we can make a run. Here's Chan at the plate at his first postseason at bat. The generational talent is going to get some chop wood there and fly out. With that ground ball from Seager, Green shuts us down pretty easily in the first. Now, despite Bieber not having a good regular season, I still really believe in him in this postseason. He is going to be our ace. One of the greatest postseason hitters in recent history, Corey Seager, strikes out and Green is dominating. But so is Bieber, as both teams only have 4 hits and so far no runs. Setup man Will Vest throwing laser beams in the 8th. The Reds offense runs through Ellie. This is a big moment in this game. Here's the 2-2. And he got him! Dubon, get down. Oh, that got past the left fielder. Steer with a mistake, and Dubon's on second. So it's up to David Chan. Big moment for the young star. And he smokes wood! David Chan! Oh, baby! I try to keep it PG in these videos, but holy shit. What a moment for Chan, and now we just need Foley to shut this thing down. Foley's looked fantastic, just one more out to get, and that is grounded hard, but right to first, and we win an exciting Game 1. David Chan already cementing himself as a postseason legend, and we head into Game 2 where Christian Scott loses to Rhett Lauder, so we go to Game 3, and we've got a big moment here. I would not like our first playoff run to have a premature end. We've got 2 on for Seager, tie ball game. He's had a good series. He's 2 for 4 today, but he strikes out. Opportunity missed there. There's no ghost runner on second base during the postseason. 6'10" righty Sean Jelly on the mound. 1-2 to Campbell, and we're headed to the 12th. Here's Dubon now, and he's going to fly out. We're going to the 13th. Will Vest comes in now. The tension is very palpable here in the building. Reds smartly bring in a lefty, but we're still in pole position to walk this off with the top of the lineup up. And there's a base hit from Nate Lowe. Can Chan do it again? That's hit well. Deep into left, but it's going to hang up. Here's Seager, who's already homered twice today. That's softly hit, might fall into left. Oh, diving play. So with 2 outs, here's the MVP. Santander from the right side this time. Williamson's been pitching around him, and he draws a walk. So with the runner in scoring position, here's Bregman. Grounded to second. See you in the 14th. Vesia was okay this year, but I don't necessarily like the lane he's coming in here with a bunch of righties, but he's got 2 outs, but a run comes home. It's 5-4. I had a bad feeling with Vesia, and now we're just 1 out away from elimination. Jonah Heim, there's a single. We're still in this. Only problem is that brings up Mauricio Dubon, probably the worst hitter on our team. 0 for 5 today, and that's flown softly into center. And the Reds take the wild card. Tough way to go out there, especially after that awesome home run by Chan, as the Dodgers defeat the Yankees in the 2028 World Series. We're losing a lot of members of the team after that season, especially in the bullpen, and also Nate Lowe, who was so good for us. But the great news is our budget's gone way up after last year's success to $262 million. We had some outlier years for sure, but I think with that amount of money, we can find a way to hit even more home runs. This may be the first time I've ever done this in any of my videos, but I'm actually going to give out a qualifying offer for Nate Lowe. We'll see if he accepts it. If not, I believe we can get some draft compensation. It's pretty pricey, but after the development and the season he had last year, feels like a good option. We might bring some of these other guys back too, but for now I'm going to let them become free agents. But while I'm looking over here, I see the man himself, probably the best hitter in this game, Yordan Alvarez. 37 homers, 45 homers, 40 homers, 40 homers. He's got to be our number one choice. And I expect to be very active in free agency, hunting down the biggest targets we can, because besides Yordan, I see Ronald Acuna, Ketel Marte, Riley Green, J-Ram, Royce Lewis, even Francisco Alvarez might be a good option. This year, my infinite genius and big brain strategy is going to kick in, as we're going to be able to save a lot of money on pitching with all of our talented young players coming up. I know for sure Derek Jones is going to be in the show, and then it's about which other guys are going to join him. We'll be able to put the overwhelming majority of our revenue into hitters, and more specifically, home run hitters. Well, I said catcher is a place we need to get some more home runs, and I happen to know a catcher who hits a lot of home runs, Cal Raleigh. Sadly, in the roster I'm using, he is not as cracked as he should be. He should definitely have 99 power on each side and be probably 99 overall. But the last 2 years, he had 32 and 26, which is a big improvement over Jonah Heim, who hit 10 last season. We've got a ton of really high potential starters, so we might as well use them and make a trade for Cal. Now we've got to trade away Jonah Heim, and the Braves are looking for a catcher to play in front of Drake Baldwin, who, despite being the rookie of the year this year, is not too good in this roster. And our farm system is really bad at first base, which is definitely a power hitting position. We're going to acquire one this year, but I need to get somebody in here, and Luis Rodriguez looks excellent. Here at the Longballs, we definitely don't care too much about defense, so we'll be making this trade. Aranda's headed to the Angels in exchange for a relief pitcher with very high walks per 9. Kerstad's a little too pricey, and we're trying to get Yordan, so he is headed to the Marlins for an outfield prospect. About time we brought in one of my favorites here, Xavier Curry, who, by the way, pitched 130 innings last year to a 2.16 ERA. There's a reason I like this guy, and I don't need Bernabel anymore. Also, I went ahead and signed Christian Campbell for 5 years at 8.3 to try to save some money during arbitration and get a year of his free agency. He's got 8 potential, he's only 78 overall, and he looks like he's going to have a pretty good power profile along with that defensive flexibility. Count me in. Nate Lowe has decided to accept the qualifying offer, so we're not going to get that draft pick, and that makes sense because the regular offer I gave him was about half of this offer. But that's totally worth it because he's got an on base of 350, he had 37 home runs last year, and he put up 4.1 WAR, so I'm cool with that. There's actually not as much competition for Yordan as I thought. He's up to 59%. I don't really want to go for 7 years because I think he's going to start to regress pretty heavily, so I'm going to go down to 5 years, but I'm going to bump up the budget a little bit to 32. I said budget, I meant offer, but that is what I'm going for. We'll see how it goes. Come on, Yordan. You were born to be a long ball, son. Show me the pens. Ah! Okay, at least we've got another chance. We definitely need to get him, though, because a lot of other good options are coming off the board. You see Riley Green there is going to the Red Sox. Ketel is going back to the D-backs for 2 years. I thought about bringing him in. And right there in the middle, 11-19, Royce Lewis is going to the Rangers. He was very much on my short list. So we have got to get Yordan. I'm still going to go back to 5 years, but I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit more, this time to 34. We could also upgrade at third base, too, because Bregman has started to regress very heavily. He's still a pretty good hitter, though, and he's in the last year of his deal, and we've only got to wait a little bit before Juan Ortiz is ready to go. Haven't been this excited for a prospect debut, well, I guess since David Chon, but he's way up there. All right, here we go again. This is the biggest part of the offseason. Come on, Yordan. Come on. Yes, we got him. Oh, that's always a little bit of a rush when you get the pens, and I got a deal that I am very happy with. Massive, massive signing for Louisville. We don't have a whole lot of money left to spend, however, so I've got to try to wait out Buxton, but there's a lot of competition. I'll move him to the number 1 slot, and we've just got to try to take the chance because I've only got $27 million to spend, and he wants 22. And I know there's been a lot in this offseason, but there is just so much to do. We have got a very high goal to try to hit. Always looking for a reliever in the Rule 5, and I think this time I want the left-hander, Jared Schuster. He's only 69 overall, but he does have beat potential, so room for growth, and he's left-handed, which I need. Let's go 1 year at 17.5. And we're really ramping up this year. As you can see, this is going to put us in the competitive balance tax. You're rarely going to see that in my rebuilds. When Cal Raleigh is batting 7th for you and Buxton 8th, you've got a pretty good lineup. Always be sure to look through free agency thoroughly because sometimes the CPU doesn't sign their new draft picks. Look at this starter I found. We have almost maxed out our budget here at $250 million. We will be losing the contracts of Lowe, Santander, Bregman, and Buxton next year, so that's going to free up about $100 million for us. And I mentioned my strategy already. Save a lot of money on pitching, put it into the lineup. The only pitcher that's making any substantial amount of money is Shane Bieber. Scott's making $2 million a year. Derek Jones is on a rookie contract. Phil Bentley is a rookie, and Tyler Alexander, we got him for $4 million. I'm feeling really good about this team. Let's fast forward to opening day where I have a surprise. As you can see, we're ranked first in power going into next season, and I actually lied. We're going to have to wait a couple days to see the surprise. Welcome to Season 5 for the Longballs. We'll be taking on the Braves for opening day. Spencer Strider's going to take the mound, dominant strikeout pitcher, but struggles with command. Batting second again will be David Sean, who's turned into a very good hitter against righties. And he's still only 91 overall, so hopefully he can get better against lefties as well. As that is jam shot into right, but there's the power right there. That gets down. Michael Harris, very good defender as well. Seager's back, of course, after 38 homers last year. My only concern for him is if he starts to regress. There's a strikeout. He's 34 now, and he's currently 89 overall. Obviously, a lead against righties, but hopefully he can hang on as long as possible because this is also a very expensive contract. And speaking of expensive contracts, here is your, in my opinion, probably the best hitter available in this game, as that is roasted deep into left center. Harris tracking it down. It'll make the catch, but you see the power right there. Shane Bieber coming back. Ended up doing okay last year. Definitely not as good as his first year with the Longballs. Our talented rookie pitchers are coming up, and we've got more after that, so it's important for Bieber to be a mentor for these guys on the mound. How will Santander follow up last year's MVP season? That is one of my big questions for this year. There's a strikeout. Pitchers duel so far, just like last year's opening day. Both starters are dealing. Still scoreless through 6.5. Make that 7, as Jared Schuster has a great first outing. Byron Buxton trying to get something going, laid on a bunt, which he pops up back to the pitcher. We don't do that around here, Byron. This is the Longballs. I appreciate trying to get on base, but we swing for the fences here in Louisville. Curry working hard, in a little bit of trouble here. Base hit wins this game. 3-2 pitch, he got him. We're headed to extras. Jordan leading off, and that is roped. 110 off the bat and off the wall. It takes more than 9 innings, but finally someone's on the board. Jose Hernandez will be our closer this year. He was excellent in 2028. Oh no, that's blooped into left. Baca, the rookie, is coming in to try to save this game. Third rounder from 2025, elite case per 9, still working on some of the other attributes. Tough spot to be making your debut. And that's flown out to center. Buxton, we need to see that arm. Throw to the plate is not in time. Now we get our surprise. Welcome to our new home in downtown Louisville. And we host the Dodgers in the first ever game in our new stadium. There you see the press boxes and the upper decks, massive scoreboard out and right, and lots of seating for our growing fan base. And out behind the batter's eye, you get a glimpse of downtown. And the first runs in our new stadium come off of a Jordan 2-run shot. It's hard to simulate it all with this lineup because of how many home run hitters we have in it. Not only is the ownership investing in putting the most powerful lineup ever seen on the field, but we're also now investing in our stadium as Alexander gives up a run. Would love to christen the new stadium with a dub, but that might not be the case. I know that's what the fans want, for sure. As David Sean chases that, we'll have to do it in the 9th. Good news is that with our lineup, we could tie it up with one swing very easily. But that would not be the case today as Santander strikes out and the Dodgers win. Heading into this year, we've got 17 prospects in the top 100, so our farm system is really in a good spot. Finally, our highest ranked position player is third baseman Juan Ortiz, who I cannot wait to get up to the show. Couple good bullpen options too, closers and relievers. We're in really good shape. All we need now is to win a bunch of games and to start the year. Unfortunately, we're 2-6. Why does this always happen? Sadly, we only have 5 picks this year in the draft. I think it's because I signed so many big free agents. At the end of the day, that is definitely a trade-off I'm willing to make, and the first guy that I want to scout here is power-hitting catcher Blake Brantley. Looks a lot like Cal Raleigh. Let's throw him on the board. Bouncing back here in the 3rd week of April, we win 5 of 6 games, and now we're in 2nd place, tied with pretty much everybody else. And Brantley looks just okay, low potential range, but high power. Now we're turning it on here. Hot start to May. We're up to 20-13 and in first place. As far as home runs go, we're currently 6th with 47. Trying to keep our momentum here. Big spot for Nate Lowe. Down 2, top of the 9th, 2 outs, bases loaded. He stared at 2 fastballs, and now the 0-2, he stares at 3 straight fastballs. Despite not getting it done there, Nate Lowe has been just fine with an 814 OPS so far, and then you have Chan and Alvarez, our best OPSs for full-time guys. Bieber, Alexander, and Scott have been good in the starting role, but unfortunately Phil Bentley and Derek Jones, our 2 youngsters, are not pitching well. Just found an absolute gem of a first baseman here, starting rank 120 up to 31st after being scouted, and he's got a power build. Still trying to discover some good pitchers, have not really found any so far. America's superstar David Chan with 3 homers already today. We're blowing out the Cardinals. He's been on a tear lately, jumping in to see if he can get a 4th home run. That is ripped deep into right center. It's going to bounce off the wall. What a player and what a game. Got a few backups starting today, but we are getting to see just how potent this lineup can truly be. And Ronnie Baca's going to go for 3 innings to finish things off, and that is a 15-0 victory. We're still ahead of the Dodgers right now in the home run race with 103 and 64 games into the year. That puts us on pace for 261. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Cal and Buxton here, and I also am seeing that Bregman is heavily regressing. Of course, we've got Juan Ortiz coming up at third base, and he's continuing to develop nicely, but he's in Double-A and not hitting that great, so we can't rely on him. We'll probably have to make a move to replace Bregman. In fact, I'm going to pull the plug right now and make a trade with the Marlins, who are in our division, but they are not playing well. Usually known for their pitching depth, they've lost quite a bit of it here in recent years during this save file. So I'm happy to give them Hunter Barco, who's in the long relief role for us. He's got lots of team control, beat potential, also left-handed. And I'm going to ship Bregman off with him to the Marlins. They're looking for a second baseman, so Alex will finish his career over there, and we will bring in Connor Norby. This home run record is not going to be easy to break, so we've got to do everything we can to try to accomplish it. Oh, and by the way, to fill in Barco's spot, I am going to bring this guy, Adrian Reyes, who we found in free agency last year. Rough scouting and drafting, unfortunately. Things are getting a little weird here. I did find what looks to be a very, very promising closer, left-handed too. Discovery guy, high potential range. Hopefully we can get him. I'm trying to find some gems at the end of the class here. The number 1 player is a pitcher, so I may end up going that route, although he does have low walks per 9. We've got a few other guys who've gone up the board, but our best discovery guy is injured. Yeah, it's a little weird right now, but we'll see how things go here in the final week. Looks like Norby's fitting right in here now. A few weeks on the team, he's up to 25 home runs, already at pace of his last few seasons. Chan's at 26, Jordan at 24. I see that Santander's finally heating up to 18. Yeah, I think this is going to be a super weird draft. We pick at 22, and then we pick at 99. So a lot of these guys that I'm adding to the queue here in the middle of the class, probably not even going to be able to get them. I've got no idea how this is going to go. Not sure what the Blue Jays are doing with that pick. What is going on there? So we get to our pick, and I'm kind of between 2 guys, both pitchers. We've still got the number 1 player in the class, Kenny Roper, but we've also got this starter, Kurt Dubois, available, whose build looks promising. High hits per 9, high walks per 9, very, very tempting, but I stopped scouting this region because there weren't many promising pitchers. Not sure what I was doing. I think I've got to play it safe here and just go with the number 1 player in the class. Yeah, funny that that's playing it safe, but I don't like his build. Probably will have good potential, though. Tempted to take Guzman, but I'm wondering if this closer is going to go away, and this dude looks incredible. I like Guzman, though, and I don't think he's going to fall. He's got a nice power profile here. He's going to be... Oh. Well, never mind. We're going with Sawyer Tanaka. Ran out of time. I'm not used to picking so late in the class like that and run out of time that quick, so I guess we're going with Tanaka. He was the one who was injured, but we'll see. And now, for this next pick, I think we've got to take this closer, William Ham. Hard to pass up that potential range and left-handed. This is just getting super weird. We're going to go with this reliever now for pick 159. Oh, man, this is a bummer. Got to go with the best guy left on my board here for the final pick, Discovery starting pitcher, who does have high walks per 9, but probably not great potential. This might be the worst draft I've ever had, and you got to witness it live. Good thing our team is playing well, because that was frustrating. We've got some all-stars this year, starting with Shane Bieber, who is currently 12-1 with a 2.46 ERA. That is ace material right there. David Chan and Jordan are also all-stars. Chan is still only at 92 overall, but he has now maxed out his power against righties. Pretty unique build for a generational talent. Usually you have much more even hitting stats on both sides. Taking a look at the stats here, he's already up to 27 home runs, on pace to beat his first 2 years in the league. This draft will end up being a lot better if Sawyer Tanaka is not totally whacked by that injury, but I don't know how much that impacts a player. We'll see. Take a mental note here, 94 max potential, 66 max overall. We are about to get some absolute studs in the bullpen, though, with Ham and Ramirez. Only batting .232 this year is Seager. 0 for 4 today, regressing a little bit. Not a great sign, but there's a nice swing into left. That'll tie it up. And it looks like a lot of bench guys have been getting into the action today. Here's Cole Carrick. He's batting .317 this year. 3-1 pitch. In the dirt, he walked him. Runner's going for third. Where's the call? He's in there. We got him cornered now for Buxton. Very good chance to walk this off. Still nobody out. Buxton's going to go for a bunt now. That one's going to get down, and that one will win the game. What is going on? This is the Longballs, not the bunt gods. 57 and 41 right now, and the Marlins are actually making a run. I think that trade might have benefited both sides here. I'm just looking through to see if there's anybody that can help us out in the power department or in the bullpen. I'm not seeing too many good options. Not going to make any moves here, and I'm also not going to extend anybody right now. Santander is interesting, but we could probably find another option at DH as he is starting to regress. Buxton, same thing. So we are rocking with what we got and just need these guys to hit as many home runs as possible. We've extended our lead over the Marlins, now 22 games above 500. Great year so far here, 2029. Let's take a look at the draft picks, and what do we got? Okay, that's actually better than I thought. Glad I went with Kenny Roper in the first round here. 96 potential is excellent. He does have great home runs per 9. The walks per 9 is a little bit concerning, and he's also not got a lot of stamina, but super valuable pick here. We could trade him if we need to. We could keep him in the roster. And it looks like the injury did not affect Sawyer Tanaka too much at all. He's 59 overall with 87 potential. Pretty good stats here. See, I like this build a little better with the walks per 9 and the hits per 9. Not so much the home runs per 9. Very excited that Will Ham fell to our pick here. 95 potential, 72 overall left-hander. Just maybe a year in the minors, try to get that clutch up a little bit, and I think this guy will probably be our closer for a long time. Very unusual for me to have only 5 picks. At least we got 3 good ones and maybe some trade pieces. Check this out. Generational starter. You don't see this too often. This dude looks incredible. Wow, I missed out on some gems. Not great scouting here by the GM of the Louisville Longballs, me. It was Guzman, wasn't it? That was the first baseman. Damn it. Why did I auto-pick? 180 home runs right now, decisive lead, and we're on pace for 270. I'm not sure this ballpark that I brought us to, it might be big. We'll see. We may have to quickly relocate here to another spot in Louisville, but let's see how this season goes. Looking at the game log, we're only at 220 feet of elevation, so we're not getting any help there. I don't know how I could see the dimensions of the ballpark. Norby's been a really nice addition for us. Not only is he hitting home runs, he's also making good plays in the field. Looking forward to having this guy for a couple seasons while we wait for our third base prospect to come up. Off day for a few of the guys in Atlanta today, but not Jordan, who is making an MVP case. Jordan rips one into the left center field gap. That's going to be extra bases. I've said that Christian Scott's my favorite pitcher in the game, but Jordan is my favorite hitter. Here is the MVP race right now with about a month and a half left into the season. Austin Riley is beating out Alvarez and Chan. I'm surprised that Shohei's not on here. Nobody to beat in the Cy Young, though. Shane Bieber's looking really good there. Seager with a rip into left. Get up. That's out of here. Jordan right after it with a smoke into the left center gap. This lineup is absolutely lethal. Buxton at 14 home runs. I wanted a little bit more out of him here. I said it before, it is very difficult to get power out in center field. But there's some power! Buxton! Oh, Christian Campbell getting in on the action. Has not been his year this year, but I am definitely betting on his future. Christian Campbell back to deep left. To the track, to the wall. God! Up and down this order, we have got dogs. Trying to get Santander going before the playoffs. Oh, that's deep. Way back into left at the wall. And good. I realize there have not been anywhere near enough dingers in this video, and I entered this game and we hit like 5 today. Off a really tough pitcher too in this roster, AJ Puck. That brings Santander up to 28, although he's not hitting anywhere near as well overall as he did last year, that is for sure. David Chon deep into right center. Harris tracking it down, and that's gone. That was against a lefty too. He's not as good against lefties. There you get a taste of what the long balls can do. Dominant offensively, and by the way, our young closer Ronnie Baca went 3 innings to finish things off. And we finish off August at 81-54. We've got this division locked down. Currently 224 home runs with Chon, Norby, and Alvarez still in the lead. Still on pace for 270 home runs with a month left in the season. Checking back in on Juan Ortiz, who I am so excited about. He's developing extremely well, but he's not hitting well, so I don't know exactly how that works in this game if you're not hitting well and still improving this well, especially against lefties. He's not going to be ready for next year, which is why we have Norby, but he does have 18 home runs in 99 games, which would put him at about 27 or so if it was an MLB season. And remember, he's got 89 potential. I cannot wait to see how good he gets. 2 weeks left in the season, we're at 250, but I see that Chon, Norby, and Santander are all cold right now. Last game of the year here, we are currently on a 7-game win streak to finish out the season. Christian Scott's been good, not his best this year, about a 4 ERA. A really big step forward for us as a team, very exciting. We're finally starting to make money and hit a lot of home runs. There's one right on cue. And the estimates were about spot on. We are currently at 270 home runs on the season. It is going to be very tough. I know I said it before. It is going to be very tough to get the 308. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. Of course, we've got some good prospects we can lean on, but they are still a ways away for sure of reaching their max potential as far as home runs. On the other hand, some of our older guys like Lowe, Santander, Seager, they're not getting any better. Ronnie Baca's blowing this one. He had a pretty good year in his first season in the league. Just over a 4 ERA, a lot of innings. The good news is that Jordan will be dominant for a while, so we're going to have him to be able to pencil in the lineup for several years. And Connor Norby is also looking promising. There's a 3-run shot and back-to-back with Christian Campbell. And we finished the season on a nice victory, 6-3 over the White Sox. So 99-63 is the final tally. We're the 1 seed. If you look in the top right here, we'll be taking on either the Padres or the Dodgers. Final total, 273 homers, about 40 ahead of the Dodgers. And it looks like we've got some awards here, and we've got a Cy Young for Shane Bieber, a Hank Aaron for Jordan, and an MVP for Jordan. Ended up finishing a little bit ahead of Riley here, 3 more homers and 11 more RBI. That is back-to-back MVPs for the long balls. We're really becoming a force in the league. First Cy Young in team history goes to Shane Bieber, his second career Cy Young, 18-5 with 180 Ks. Final tallies here, we've got a 3-way tie. Santander with 39. Surprised me, he really struggled to start the year. Jordan with 39 and Norby with 39. David Chon coming in at 38. We have not seen the maximum potential of him just yet. He had an 859 OPS, slowly improving, but he is going to break out in a big way at some point, I can guarantee it. Seager with 29, you can see he's starting to regress. I don't know what my plans are going to be just yet. We'll get there when we get there. And then Nate Lowe, who took that qualifying offer with 28. Probably going to be the last season with him as he is also regressing, but he was incredible for us, one of the real franchise players so far in this video for the long balls. Looks like the Padres took down the Dodgers, so that will be our first round matchup. Here's our playoff rotation with Bieber as our ace, Christian Scott, Derek Jones, and Tyler Alexander as our 4th starter. And then the bullpen is pretty much the same, and of course Jose Hernandez will be our closer. We got to skip the first round and now take on the Padres, but let me just remind you that even if we make a deep playoff run here, the challenge is not over as we still have to beat the home run record as we've just won the first 2 games against the Padres now, and Derek Jones will start game 3. We're on the road now and we're going up against Garrett Whitlock, who's gone over to San Diego. Looks like through the first 2 games, Nate Lowe's been our best hitter in the postseason, batting .429 with the home run. Very amped up home crowd here in San Diego. 2-2 pitch on the way, and that is strike 3. Gotta swing at that one. David Chon had his big moment in the postseason last year. Will he have another one in this run? He also has a home run so far, but he's only batting .222 as here's the full count pitch, and it's softly hit to first. With 2 outs now, here's a full count pitch to Corey Seager, and that's right down the middle. Our starter, Derek Jones, today will be taking on a San Diego lineup that looks somewhat familiar to current day with the addition of Vlad Jr., which is strange. I mentioned before I'm using a not too updated roster for this video, which I kind of regret, but I'm a little too far into this now. And besides Vladdy, they have Leo DeVry, who once again should not be on this team. He was traded to the A's. And the last guy I'll call out here is Anthony Russell, who we've got to look out for. He's only 79 overall, but all those stats are in hitting and speed. Derek Jones with that excellent facial hair was the first of many great pitching prospects to be called up to the show. At just 19, he's 81 overall, and he definitely looks a little older than 19 in his picture, but his arsenal includes a 4-seam slider, curveball, and a 2-seam. And with a good start today, he can send us to the next round of the postseason, as there's a strikeout. Leo DeVry with a very good bunt, third base coming over, making a nice play to get the out. I forgot who that was for a second. That was Connor Norby making the play. With 2 outs, here comes Vladdy Jr., who's going to ground out to short. Santander is 0 for 8 so far through 2 games. And with the ground ball into the shift, make that 0 for 9. Derek Jones, so far so good today. 3 clean innings, no hits for either team. Derek Jones finally gives up a run on 3 singles, but manages to get out of it. And Cal Raleigh ties it up with a solo shot. David Chahn's going to get a base hit here to start the 6th. And Corey Seager with the bomb! 471 to right center. 115 off the bat. That was roasted. You're done! Deja vu! Almost in the same spot. 114 off the bat. And with that, we're just 3 outs away from moving on. Jose Hernandez coming in. He's been great in the postseason. 3-2 to Machado. And there's going to be 1 out. 2-strike pitch to Bogarts. And there's 2 outs. 1 strike away from a sweep of the Padres. And that's grounded to second. Campbell over to first. And we're moving on. The Longballs are headed to the championship series for the first time in team history. And as I sim forward, the other series finishes up and we'll be taking on Philly. 36-year-old Bryce Harper is still the best player on this team, and Pablo Lopez is their best pitcher, but I also see that they have Mason Miller as their closer. Looks like he struggled a little bit this year, blowing 13 saves and going down in potential. When it comes to the rotation, I feel like we've got a pretty big advantage, although Pablo Lopez is pretty good, and he's been extremely consistent. And so we jump into Game 1 of the NLCS at home. Bieber on the mound, and this Louisville crowd is very excited. But the Phillies do strike first on a solo shot from Zach Geloff, who has reverse splits, righty on righty. And the Phillies add another on a ground out from Bryce Harper. Buxton gets our first hit in this game, but immediately a double play erases that for us. And so far, it looks like Pablo Lopez really came to play today. Here's our best chance to score so far with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. 2-2 pitch from Lopez is grounded up the middle for a base hit. 1 run scores, and the other runner moves up to third. If we're going to tie this game up, it's going to be up to Christian Campbell, but he strikes out. Granted, it's a small sample size, but Connor Norby has also been struggling so far. And he's going to ground into a double play. That has been the story of Game 1, missed opportunities. Buxton stole second, and there's 1 out now. But the deeper we get into Philly's bullpen, the better and better I feel about it. I think we've got a good advantage on the mound during this series, but that is a great pitch. And that means it's up to David Chahn, who hits one harder off the bat, slicing into right, and that's off the wall. Chahn's in there with the double. Man, his power continues to surprise me. It looked like he barely even swung the bat. It took until the 8th inning, but finally somebody comes through, and now we're headed to the 9th, all tied up. Curry fires downhill, and that is hit well. Deep into right, Santander going back, makes the catch on the track, and with that, we'll have a chance to walk it off in the 9th. In the bottom of the 10th now, Christian Campbell at the plate. And Christian Campbell lines one up the left field line for a base hit. And Chandler Simpson will pinch run. Thanks to Chandler's speed, a base hit should mean that we win this game. Nate Lowe, softly hit into center, get down, it's caught, we're going to the 11th. We've brought in Jose Hernandez, who gives up a 2-run shot to Bryce Harper. And that means Mason Miller comes in for the Phillies, who strikes out Chahn, pops up Seager, and Jordan with the solo shot, which leaves it up to Anthony Santander. 3-1 pitch, grounded for a base hit. That's another 2-out double, but this time we can't pinch run Chandler Simpson. 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 11th, down 1 in Game 1 of the NLCS, and Cal Raleigh swings and misses. An exciting game despite the loss, and now I simulate Game 2, which we win 7-5, and continuing ahead into Philly, we win Game 3, and now in Game 4, we're in a high-leverage moment. As we duke it out here, Boston and New York are duking it out on the other side of the bracket. We're up 1, but there's a leadoff base runner in the bottom of the 9th, and that bunt is popped up right to Campbell. That's a good start. Dangerous hitter in Trey Turner, and he grounds one through the right side. That's a base hit. Our closer, Hernandez, is a lefty, so I'm a little bit concerned here. He induces some weak contact, and that's going to fall. Buxton to the plate. Runner did not go. Wasn't sure how to react to that, but now the bases are loaded for Bryce Harper. Philly crowd on their feet. Ground ball double play would be ideal here for Louisville. That's hit hard, though, into right, and that's not going to be in time. It's a tie ball game. Tristan Beck takes over for Hernandez, and Matt Chapman singles into right. Santander, need everything you got here. Good throw, but Trey Turner's just too fast. Jose Hernandez blows the save, and the series is all tied up at 2-2 until we lose Game 3, and now going into Game 4, we are eliminated. Disappointing outcome there as the Yankees go on to defeat the Phillies. And so we're eliminated again, but we do take another step forward, winning 99 games, and this time making it to the CS. And once again, we're losing a lot of key pieces to this team, and I've got to find a way to not only get further in the postseason, but also hit even more home runs. So this offseason took me a really long time, and I decided to come in and do a voiceover, and you'll see in the background as I decide to make some of the moves, and kind of you can almost see me thinking through some of what I was trying to do here in the offseason. So there's a few challenges that I had for this particular year. First of all, the main challenge of the video is trying to both win a World Series, but more difficult than that is breaking this home run record, which is proven to be pretty difficult, and I am enjoying the challenge. And last year, somehow we came up 40 home runs short with an insane lineup. So the hard part is trying to fit in the skill positions like a center field, shortstop, and catcher with a lot of power. We already have our catcher with Cal Raleigh, but he is starting to regress. Essentially what I decided to do, ultimately, after really messing around with way too long trying to figure out what I wanted to do, is I decided to just say, screw it. We are literally going to put out probably the worst defense of all time. I moved David Chon over to center field, even though his defense is not good enough really to play center field. Decided to leave Seager at short. I was thinking about other different options. Surprisingly, John Kenzie Noel's defense is actually not that bad, and right now he's at first base. And the guy that I decided I wanted in free agency to look at was David Fry, because he's got great power versus lefties, and a lot of our guys have more power against righties. Maybe if we hit like a trillion home runs, defense is not going to matter. At least that's the way I was looking at it. So then I started looking at trades, and I found a guy that I was interested in here, Tyler O'Neill. Now, he's also going to be part of the problem of our roster getting older, but we're just like 1 year away from some of these good prospects coming up. He's got 2 years left on a deal, and the Mariners are willing to take one of these pitchers that I was not super high on for this deal, so I decided to make that move. So at this point, recognizing that finding guys in skill positions with a lot of power has been a challenge, so I started looking around, and I found a center fielder on the Mets who does project as a real power bat, and I decided to cook up a trade for him. I never know how long these rebuilds are going to go, so I've always got to try to plan for worst case scenario of, 10 years from now. So we've talked a lot about the hitters so far throughout this offseason, but I also had some interesting things to figure out with the pitching. Obviously, we've got an incredibly talented farm system coming up. Pitching gets incredibly expensive, and so I feel like I need to try to make smart moves here, and Phil Bentley is the best out of all the pitchers we have coming up. He has like 96 potential. He didn't have a great first year in the league, but he's going to get really expensive, like over $20 million in arbitration. So I wanted to try to buy out his arbitration years and offer him a 5-year deal. This way, when Bieber comes off the books next year, we've got an ace in our core. And of course, in my heart, Christian Scott is an ace, but I'm talking about a younger guy that's coming up to at least pair with him. David Fry was very interested, so I ended up offering him just a 1-year deal, and I brought it down quite a bit to $15 million. He was not too happy about that, so of course I tried it again, even lower this time, and this time it was enough to get it over the line, which is kind of funny. We don't really need to be lowballing guys at this point, but I'm doing it anyway. I mentioned it before, but this is going to be a really bad defense, but hopefully we can be like the Yankees' philosophy and hit so many home runs that it doesn't even matter. As far as the rotation, basically everything is coming from in-house, and it was a tough call. I decided to bring up Carlos Caraballo. He goes way back to the first draft of this video, and he's 26 now. He hasn't developed as quickly as I thought he would, but I do think he's our best option for now. Gonna go ahead and grab Michael Grove here in the Rule 5 draft. That'll be my only pick this year. And then lastly, I'm bringing in Colby Allard for 2 years in the bullpen. Is it a sign Paul Skeens going to the Yankees? I could see that happening someday in real life.
Unfortunately, I lost some audio here as we get into opening day, and we do get smoked by the Phillies as you see in the background. We end up losing this game 8-1, but the good news is we bounced back to 8-6 a couple weeks into the season, and taking a look at the home run race, we're in 4th with 25, so long way to go. Juan Ortiz is on the way. He is going to be a big help. I'm very excited for him, and I started scouting and found this good catcher with some power. Dean Arnold seems like a good option.
And we are staying on a roll here as we win the last 3 games in April and the first 4 in May. That's 7 in a row. We've quickly overtaken first place in the division. Unfortunately, Robert Matsumoto is not as good as I had hoped. He doesn't have a power build though, so I'm not too bummed out about it. And thankfully, we just found a very promising pitcher here with the exact build that I always look for and a very good range between overall and potential 10th ranked. Really hoping that Cairo's good. And we found a couple other decent mid-round discovery guys as well who both have good walks per 9 in Pinheiro and Pena. But I'm anxious to switch over to Central and see just how good Cairo actually is. But if both Johnson and Cairo are not good, we also just found Tim Flores, so we are getting some good discovery options. Flores is 6'5", 250. Our closest pursuers, the Braves, take 3 out of 4 from us here in May, but we still have a 3-run cushion ahead of them. Of course, I signed Phil Bentley to an extension buying out that arbitration, and he's been our worst pitcher so far this year. That's just how it goes. The rookie Carballo has been great, Bieber's been good, and of course, Christian Scott has been excellent. Already in week 9 of scouting, this has absolutely flown by this year, and it turned out to be none of those pitchers that I called out before that is the best on the board. It's actually Gregorio Vaccaro, ranked 1 in the class. Very exciting prospect there in Vaccaro. Cairo finished at 13th on the board, and we've got Santos here at 18th, so we've got some pretty good options. Simming ahead a little bit now to June 16th, we are decisively in the lead here. 7 games ahead of the Braves, 8 ahead of the Mets. Jordan leads the way so far with 17 home runs. Not enough guys are pushing 20 just yet. There's nobody really tearing it up. At least I see that Corey Seager's got 10, but he's regressing very heavily down to 84 overall. Not to mention that Tyler O'Neill is also regressing quite a bit. We've got a couple concerning contracts as we truly sold everything out here to try to get some power, and it looks like the Rodolfo Castro experiment is not working. He's batting 154. I had him in the lineup against lefties to start the year, but we have got to get Christian Campbell in there full-time. Maybe Castro's a little better off the bench. Scott continues to be excellent as always, and then our young guys that we drafted, Derek Jones, 4.28 ERA, Bentley, 4.84, that is improving. It's the rookie Carballo that's been the best so far. Our high leverage relievers continue to be very consistent, and I also see that Ronnie Baca is improving very rapidly. He also seems to pitch a lot, so we'll see what he puts together this year after 112 innings last year as a closer. Scouting continues to be kind of weird on the position player side, but not on the pitcher side. We have continued to find some very good prospects, especially discovery ones, and I did just discover this third baseman, so we'll definitely take a look at him. And he does have a very nice power profile, so really curious about Chris Cruz, switch hitter as well. Having a lot of fun chasing this home run record, but even this deep into a rebuild, scouting is still my favorite part of this game. 8 wins in a row here now, sweeping Miami and sweeping Colorado, and then taking the first from LA. We're up to 51-27. And although Chris Cruz has fallen down the board, that power is still very promising. Down in AA, I've got some very exciting news. Juan Ortiz's potential has gone up to A. This is one of the most exciting prospects. I can't stop saying it. I cannot wait for this guy to come up to the majors. Let's get him up to AAA and see what he can do at that level before we bring him to the bigs. And in his very first game, he hits a missile directly over the scoreboard. I'm so hyped for this guy. The center fielder just stood there and watched it. If you look closely, you can see it flying just over the batter's eye. This dude's awesome. As far as the Major League roster, we are just dominating. It looks like power really is what it's all about at the end of the day. We're putting up so many runs. 19 homers for Jordan and Norby, Chan with 18, Noel with 17. We lead the league in batting average, runs, hits, and of course home runs, but right now we're only on pace for about 260. I don't know how the hell we're going to do this. What is it going to take to get this record? This is way harder than I thought. 63-33 as we head into the draft. And I have got a feeling we're going to be taking a lot of pitchers. That's okay because we're probably going to need to revamp the roster quite a bit next year, and we're going to need guys to trade. As far as position players I did scout, my favorite is Chris Overstreet. Looks like he's going to have high potential for a catcher. Even though he's ranked 44th in the class, I'm pretty confident in Chris. We've got Dion Arnold still here, the power-hitting catcher who I also like. And then we've got a couple of third basemen. Watts, 41st in the class, switch hitter, good defense. And then a discovery guy, Chris Cruz, also a switch hitter. Vaccaro's still the number 1 player on the board. I definitely want to take him. And then we've got Flores right behind him at number 5. But we do pick at 28, so I've got no idea what's going to be left for us when we get there. We only missed out on one guy here, which was Charles Watt, the third baseman. I'm not too bummed about that. I definitely would have liked to have drafted him, but at least Chris Overstreet is still here, and we're probably going to take a lot of pitchers to finish this draft out, so I want to get at least one position player that I believe in. Thankfully, Vaccaro is still on the board here. Number 1 player in the class, left-hander. Even though he's discovery, I'm not going to take the chance. We're definitely going with Vaccaro. After that, though, we do lose a lot of guys, but Dion Arnold is still here. I like his power profile. We're going to go with the second catcher. I've decided on Cairo here for pick 135. I'm between Cruz and Rivas here for the next pick, but we've already got our power-hitting third baseman Ortiz on the way up, so I'm going to go with the utility guy, Henry Rivas. Probably could replace Chandler Simpson soon. Definitely not the sexiest pick of all time, and unfortunately for our last pick, I'm going to have to go back to the board. I did scout Tickle Me Elmo here a little bit. What's with all the switch hitters in this class, by the way? I don't think he's anything special, but that is how we'll finish out the draft. The greatest pitcher of all time, Christian Scott, is an all-star again this year. That is 2 so far in this video. We've got David Fry and Connor Norby at third base. Seager at shortstop despite his regression. Jordan and Chan, of course, in left field. And by the way, that is 4 in a row for Chan. He continues to improve against lefties and round out his other skills. And that makes it 6 all-stars for the Longballs. Trading block absolutely sucks this season, so I don't think I'm going to make any changes. The team is playing fantastic. We're 30 games above 500. We just need to hit more home runs. For as busy as all the offseason moves were going into this year, we're having a very quiet midseason. 100 games into the year, we have picked up our home run pace a little bit at 172, way in the lead, on pace for 279. And if you look, it's actually Noel that's leading the way for us. We're going to have to pick it up even more, but I do see that a lot of guys are at or near 20 home runs so far. If I could be disappointed in anybody, it's only Christian Campbell, who's right now at 11, so maybe I actually will try to find a trade for second base. So let me look around the league. I'll see if I can find anybody, maybe Nolan Gorman? How about we reunite with Jonathan Aranda, who's got 83 power against righties. He's already got 19 home runs this year. The Angels are willing to take a C potential starter here who does have good walks per 9, and I don't like giving that up because he'll definitely play above his rating, but we've got to try to get this home run record, so I'm making this deal. So we'll get Aranda in this lineup against righties for sure, and then we'll let him ride the bench against lefties. This team is absolutely nuts. That's another 8-game winning streak as we now get a chance to view our draft picks. I'm expecting very much a mixed bag here, and that is exactly what we get, but the top 2 are looking fantastic. I desperately needed to get a high-potential catcher into the farm system, and Chris Overstreet is absolutely delivering on that. He is 60 overall at 21. It's a little bit low, but with 95 potential, he should develop very rapidly. Thankfully, Vaccaro fell to our second pick, the number 1 ranked pitcher in the class, and he looks unbelievable. He's also left-handed. 63 stamina is a little low if I'm going to complain, but 97 potential does make him the highest potential starting pitcher on this roster. Got about what I expected for Dion Arnold here. Great power right out of the gate here, but bad defense, and the other hitting stats are lacking. I don't think we'll see him in this video, unfortunately. A little bit too low overall. Cairo at 83 potential is a little lower than I expected, but his stats do look great. I got pretty much what I wanted with Henry Rivas, although again, potential's a little bit low here, but he should be a good piece of our bench in a year or two. And then we took a flyer on Elmo here. He's got great speed, but he is never going to play. We had a few good draft picks. We've got the best team, in my opinion, that we've had so far. Now all we need to do is hit a lot of home runs. And by the way, we just swept the Brewers, who are one of the best teams in the NL, and then we win this series against the A's. And now we're playing one of the worst teams in the league, the Giants, all tied up in extras, and Chan is just a double away from a cycle. He's having another excellent year. This would certainly be an exclamation point on that, but that was a beautiful curveball. But we've got another chance here, now in the 12th with the bases loaded and newcomer and returner Jonathan Aranda's at the plate. Not exactly a fast runner. Only thing you can't do here is ground into a double play. 1-2 pitch on the way, and it hits him. That'll give us the lead. Now Curry in the bottom of the 12th to finish this game off. And it looks like he's going to do exactly that as Jordan in the field makes the catch. That is 41 saves on the season now for Curry, and we are just continuing to dominate here, 85 and 39 at this point. And we finished August at 92 and 44, 22 and a half games up. We've got a really special team this year. We're leading in many offensive rankings, including home runs, of course, at 244. Unfortunately, that only puts us on pace for 291, so some of these guys are really going to have to go crazy. I hate to be a tease, but we're going to have to wait for Juan Ortiz to come up until next year for two reasons. 757 is not special yet in AAA. He's hitting a ton of home runs, but he's just not rounded out quite yet. The other reason is he can only play third base, and we've got Connor Norby there who is having a good season. I could move Norby to second, but we've got Aranda for that as well as Christian Campbell. There's just not a spot for him until we lose some guys in the offseason. What I am going to do, though, is bring up another one of our talented young pitchers, lefty Lionel Parnell. He's 24 years old, 78 overall with mid-B potential. It is time to give him a shot in the show and see what he's got. We're going to make the playoffs for sure, so I don't mind throwing him right into the rotation for Derek Jones, who's not been too good this year, 4.85 ERA. And all of a sudden, a spot has opened up in the lineup at third base. That means it is time to activate our guy, Juan Ortiz. And unfortunately, I'm just now adding him to the 40-man. I've made this mistake before. He won't be eligible for the playoffs, but he is going to make his Major League debut. I'm going to ease him in a little bit and put Christian Campbell at third against righties, who he's got pretty good stats against. But Juan Ortiz with 96 power against lefties, his stronger side, is going to come into the lineup. And we're facing a lefty today against the Cubs, so he is in the starting lineup. And Lionel Parnell also starts today. The Cubs are also not great, but let's see if he can get a bounce back as he gets a double play to get out of the first. And here is career AB number 1, our first look at Ortiz, 5'11", 173 pounds. First rounder from 2028, 2-2 pitch, he strikes out. That is going to be an issue for him in the beginning, but when he does make contact, it's going to go a long way as Parnell gets out of that jam. And Lionel's having a good start so far. Second career at bat. Ortiz leading off the fifth. Really like the batting stance. Nice little waggle for some rhythm as well. 2-2 pitch again. He's going to ground out to short. That's C.J. Abrams over there. Nice throw. And I just saw that's Nate Lowe at first. He's regressed down now to 78 overall. Still good stats against righties. He's having another good year. 819 OPS. And comparing him to John Kenzie Noel, Noel's got an 804. Parnell's got a pretty high slot. He's also really quick to the plate, too. Similar motion to Kershaw, and the fastball plays way up above its speed. I'm hoping he can be part of our rotation next year, as I love having lefties in the starting rotation. We haven't had a ton of those so far. And boy, could Ortiz make a statement right here. Tie ball game, 2 outs, bases loaded, this time facing a righty. I've been so excited for this guy. 3-1 pitch downhill, he draws a walk. That is a very good sign, as I don't expect him to draw too many of those, and we're now up 2-0. We don't have any home runs yet today, but we've just had 6 straight base runners, and we're up 6-0. Parnell is still in this game at 101 pitches. He's got a complete game shutout on the line. Lazy flare by Junior Caminero into right. There's one. And I've pointed this out before, but the other great thing besides the high walks per 9 is very high stamina for Parnell. He could really go deep into games. Line drive to second for Connor Wong. That's 2. 1 strike away. 111th pitch on the way, and that's grounded through the hole. Hoping that he gets to stay in this game, and he does not. Come on, coach. I never make any in-game decisions myself, so it was up to the CPU, and unfortunately, it's not going to be a complete game shutout, but it is a victory for the Longballs. Not what I expected, but it was an RBI walk for Juan Ortiz today. That was his best moment. Final record for this season, 106 and 56. The Longballs were dominant. This is the best season and best team in franchise history. And I was hoping that it would be a very close race. I kept my eye on it every single game, but we end up with 287 home runs. Once again, we come up short here, but I do see that David Chon had some great improvement this year, especially against lefties. That power is still maxed out against righties, and he had a career-high total of 42 homers and a career-high of 117 RBI. 4 years into this league now, he just continues to get better and better. He only put up 4 WAR, though. I think putting him in center hurt that a little bit. His defense is not that great. For the first time, David Chon got MVP votes, finishing in 3rd. Noel worked out nicely with 37 home runs, although he lost a lot of contact and is regressing, so I'm not going to bring him back. Fry also worked out well with 36, tied with Jordan, who I still think has got some more in him. I would love to see like a 45 home run season. Seager managed to have a nice season despite his regression. He's probably going to have to go to the bench next year. I think Aranda had 18 home runs when I brought him over. He ended up with 24, so he had 6 in a Longballs uniform, which is about all I could ask for. Unfortunately, Norby got hurt. He stopped at 27 home runs. I don't think he would have pushed us over the edge. And final tale of the tape for Juan Ortiz. As I expected, really low batting average, but a decent on-base percentage, and he ended up with 3 home runs in just 10 games. So we're going to have a good spot here for him at third base next year. Taking a look at the pitchers here real quick, Xavier Curry with 56 saves and a 2.11 ERA. That is phenomenal. We've got him for one more season. Hernandez, Grove, and Schuster were fantastic in the bullpen, and Christian Scott has finally become the ace that we know he is in the starting rotation, along with another good year from Shane Bieber. Hoping for a little bit more out of some of our younger guys, except for Carlos Caraballo, who had a great debut. 182 innings, 10-4 win-loss, 3.61 ERA. Here is our playoff rotation, with Derek Jones moving over to long relief. He had the worst season out of all of our starters. And before I forget, our homegrown closer Ronnie Baca improved a lot this year and also had a 3.48 ERA. And as I simulate ahead, we will be taking on the Brewers. If you're a longtime viewer, you know Emerson Hancock. He is the Game 1 starter for the Brewers, and we take a loss 7-0, but we bounce back in Game 2, now heading into Milwaukee, and Carlos Caraballo is working on a no-hitter through 7. Let's see how he finishes off this game. Another one of our young, talented starting pitchers is Caraballo. Totally different look than Parnell. Not only is he right-handed, but he has a ton of velo and a 5-pitch mix. He gives up a leadoff walk, and now a tough hitter in Jackson Chourio at the plate. Got him down 1-2. Here's the pitch, and that's strike 3 at 100. Wensiel Perez flies out. That's a 1-pitch out. He's going to need some of those. And a grounder to third. Over to first in time. He's through 7. Offensively, we are up 4-0. Make that 6-0 after a Noel 2-run homer. We tack on 3 more in the 8th. Make that 6 more, a 3-run shot for David Fry. We've got a massive cushion for Caraballo. This is the game to do it. Ground ball up the middle, and that breaks it up. Bummer for Caraballo. That would have been incredible, and he's pissed. David Chon with a 2-run shot, and now Casto coming in here to close this game out. Gives up a couple runs, but we have a dominant victory, 12-2. And Phil Bentley on the mound looking to secure this series, which we do, and now we will be moving on and taking on the Dodgers or the Mets. Offense comes alive in Milwaukee, and I simulate ahead, and we'll be taking on the Mets. Of course, one of our division rivals. They were 83 and 79 this year, but they are ranked pretty highly and have a good pitching staff. That staff includes Garrett Crochet and Braxton Garrett. And there's a lot of depth here as they have the left-hander Mitchell Parker, who's got a great build and had an excellent year. Not to mention a 2025 draft pick, Alejandro Espinosa. This looks like the exact type of guy I want on our team. And so here we go for Game 1 of the 2030 NLCS at home. We'll be looking at the 2-time Cy Young winner Shane Bieber to lead the charge today. And just about the only guy that can stack up to our lineup offensively, Juan Soto, is of course the talisman player for the Mets. And I'll give you a little preview. I am planning to do a one-man only rebuild with Juan Soto coming up very soon as Bieber drills him right in the back. So it is Espinosa today, the young, talented left-hander. Cole Carey getting the start today with a double here in the first. I did not put him in the 3-hole, so I'm not sure how he got to that spot, but nice swing either way. That brings up Chon. We saw a lot of improvement for him against lefties this year, but Espinosa's going to match Bieber in the first. Now 2 on for Fry, who's somehow in the 8-hole. Bottom of the second, 1 out. Very good against lefties. That's drilled, but right to shortstop, and that's a nice play. Mets do take a lead in the third on a sac fly. We're down 1-0. Leadoff base runner for Chon. Bottom of the 4th now. Saw some great improvement against lefties this season, but he goes down looking. We could just not drive anybody in today. Really struggling offensively. Seager does get a solo shot, but as Cade Smith comes in, the Mets end up closing us out in Game 1, 4-1. Good pitching is how you dominate the postseason, and the Mets definitely have that. And so we're down 1-0 as Christian Scott takes them out in Game 2, which we narrowly win 5-4. Now heading into New York, we lose Game 3, lose Game 4, our backs against the wall. We are eliminated by the Mets. And unfortunately, some foreshadowing there. As I predicted, their pitching staff, even against our unbelievable offense, really shut us down. And as I simulate ahead, the Mets do end up taking down their New York rivals, the Yankees, in 2030. So we're 6 seasons in now, and we've seen some steady improvement every single year on both of our goals, but we have yet to make it to the World Series, and of course yet to make that home run record. If you've made it to this point of the video, drop a like and leave a comment below. Mad respect to you, and obviously you like long-form content, which is what I deliver on. I will try to make this offseason pretty quick though, and just briefly, we're losing some significant guys, but we should have plenty of replacements for the most part. Obviously no concerns on the starting pitching side as all of our talented prospects have come up, and we'll have to add one more, maybe Oka this next year. We could also bring up Parnell, who had that great start that we saw, or even Jose Geronimo, who was excellent in AAA last year. And we will of course have to fill in some guys in the lineup, starting with moving Juan Ortiz up to the majors for good. As his contact and plate skills continue to improve, he is going to hit so many home runs. I can't wait. The other bat I may bring up internally here is Luis Rodriguez at first, who I believe we traded for. I don't think I drafted him. The hitting stats are definitely there. It's just the defense that would be a concern at first base. And of course, as I mentioned last year multiple times, a lot of our guys are starting to regress, so I'll have to figure that out. I may trade one or two of them. We'll see. They've got to fix the regression in this game. I'm so tired of seeing somebody like Junior Caminero at 27 years old regressing like this. This may be the #1 thing for me next season. Well, maybe it's not the #1 thing. There's a lot of other stuff that I'd love to see too, but man, that is so frustrating. The only guy going on my board for right now is going to be David Fry. I'd like to bring him back to play first base once again, as I'd prefer him over our prospect. I've been trying to get Michael Harris to play center field for a while. He can get up above 20 home runs, plays good defense, and finally I've got a trait that works. And with that, I'm able to put David Chon back in right, where he's a little better fit. And besides the good plate skills and defense, Michael Harris is on a very affordable contract for how good he is at $9 million per year. Surprisingly, Travis Bazan is available for cheap from the Guardians. This is a guy that I usually like to acquire, and I think long-term he's going to be my replacement at short for Corey Seager. Just need to give him a second baseman and a reliever. Good deal for us. And as a matter of fact, he's actually going to start against lefties because Seager's defense is getting really bad, and his stats against lefties aren't that good anyway. Decision time for David Fry, and he is coming back. We've got the pens. This was the main guy I wanted, just a 1-year deal while we wait for our first base prospect coming up. Super juicy Rule 5 draft here. Definitely want to do a Rule 5 only rebuild at some point. I'm going to take a flyer on this outfielder, Steve Cabrera, who I think has better upside than Chandler Simpson and could replace him someday. I don't think he'll reach his max potential of 86 because he's already 27, but worth a shot. Phil Bentley is going to be our opening day starter, and our AC's got 4 more years left on his contract, and if I remember right, he has 96 potential, so hoping to see a big step forward from him this season. Colby Allard in long relief, and then the same guys in middle relief and in the high leverage roles with Xavier Curry as our closer once again. I feel really, really good about the team this year as we're headed to LA for opening day, taking on the Dodgers. This is year 7, 2031 for us. And we still have yet to accomplish either of our goals, a World Series or the home run record, although we keep getting closer and closer to each one. A big key is going to be having either Yordan or David Chon go nuts. One of these guys needs to hit like 50 home runs. That is going to be huge. Chon got close last year with 42. He should have a legitimate shot at the MVP every year going forward. Yamamoto struck out the side on us here to start the year, and now stepping to the mound is Phil Bentley. Kind of an intimidating presence on the mound, pretty tall, big dude. He is a 3-pitch pitcher, if you recall. In steps Ohtani now, and out steps Ohtani on a fastball perfectly in the top left corner. Elite command from Bentley right there, and a great catch by Raleigh. 3-2 on the way to Jung, and there's strike 3, another one looking. With that strikeout of David Fry, Yamamoto's now opened the game with 4 straight Ks. Wow, he was out in front. Good lord. 1-2 to O'Neill, and that's 5 straight Ks. What is Juan Ortiz going to have in store this year? He is a big wild card for us. If he can make good enough contact throughout the season, his power could propel him to absurd home run totals. Trying to end the strikeout streak from Yoshi. That's hit well. Out into right, but jogging to it. And that will be caught. And here is the first long ball AB for Michael Harris. I have had a real challenge finding center fielders that I want throughout this video, and Michael Harris is a guy that I have my eye on for a while. I don't think he'll hit 30 home runs or anything like that, but 20 would be really nice, but he strikes out, and Yoshi's dominating. At first, Yamamoto was just spamming splitters, but now he's got every pitch working, and he is just rolling us over. Somebody has got to rattle him with some good contact. Juan Ortiz is going to fly out into right again. Right now through 5 innings, we're getting no hit. Bentley's been good. He's given up a few hits, but so far, no runs. A lot of speed on second. PCA's over there. I swear the Dodgers always seem to sign him in franchise. 2-2 to Horner, grounded to first, and Bentley's out of it. Cal Raleigh, there's a good hit up the middle. Finally a leadoff base runner. That's the perfect game bid, actually. It wasn't just a no-hitter from Yamamoto. Payoff pitch to Campbell. Roped into right center. That's going to find the gap. PCA, an excellent defender. Cal Raleigh, not a lot of speed. Throw to the cutoff man and now to the plate. Is not in time. We take the lead. Jordan. That's headed towards the foul pole. Stay fair. It is fair, and it bounces over. Now it's 2-0. I thought that was going to hook foul for sure. I didn't even commentate initially. We take a 2-0 lead. Oh, make that 2-1 as both teams are now into their bullpens. But Will Smith with a 2-run shot gives the Dodgers the lead. They're up 3-2. And Schuster can't seem to get an out, but finally gets out of it. Ortiz with a 2-out double into the gap here. PCA not able to track that one down as it bounces off the wall. Cal Raleigh's got a hit today with an RBI opportunity, but he strikes out. That was down the middle. Campbell with the leadoff walk to start the 8th. We're still down 1. And Chandler Simpson, who's been around for a few years now, is going to pinch run. Fully expect him to swipe second at any moment, but that's popped up by Michael Harris. Not what we were looking for. Now he's going for second. Throw down is, of course, not even close. That's what 99 speed and stealing will do. And Louisville's paying him $1.4 million this year just to do pretty much only that. Jordan did go around. We've got 2 out. I need to see this again. That's just not even close. What was that? What are we doing? Here's a 2-2 from Duvall. And that's roasted. Deep into right. Back to the track, to the wall. And it's over the wall. Chun with a clutch ground rule double. Ties it up. Great opportunity to add on here. David Fry. That's hit well, but not well enough. This has really felt like a playoff game today, as now Chandler Simpson is going to get in at-bat here. He's worked a full count, and that is a beautiful pitch. My goodness. Ronnie Baca already pitched the 8th. He's back out for the 9th with the runner on first, and PCA is going to ground that. Chandler Simpson, who pinch ran, gets an out. I'm a Rays fan, and I forgot that Simpson used to play second base in college. As PCA goes for second, he's in there easily. Here's a 2-2 to Horner. And that's lazily hit to right. We're going to extras. Sean's got it. Hernandez back in for the bottom of the 11th. We weren't able to score in the top half, and Hernandez is going to get out of it again. Michael Harris with a ground ball through the right side of the top of the 12th. This could be a close play. Throw coming home is in time. We're going to the bottom half. Once again, I'm getting flashbacks to our epic showdown against the Phillies earlier in this video, as the Dodgers do ultimately win opening day. I think I mentioned it already, but that really felt like a playoff game. I do plan to go through this regular season pretty quickly because we know that our team's going to be one of the best in the league, and we will be playoff bound. The most important thing for me is trying to get to this home run record, and I don't think we're off to a great start. It's obviously way too early, but scrolling down, we've only got 16 so far. And we're 15 games into the year, so we need to get to about double the current pace we're on. Checking in 1 month into the season, we are dominating 24-9 so far, ahead of the Phillies and the Mets. And we've quickly jumped up to second for home runs at 51. The guy I'm most interested in is Juan Ortiz, and it looks like he has 5 so far. He's adding some contact and discipline, which is huge. He's actually getting on base at an almost 400 clip. The real reason for our dominance so far, though, is the pitching, especially Ronnie Baca, who hasn't given up a run in 20 innings. And our ace, Phil Bentley's been incredible in the starting rotation with a 1.76 ERA. Not much on the scouting side. I'm trying something a little different this year and leaning more into discovery, so I'll keep you posted if I find anybody good. We've been absolutely dominating, but we're still behind on our home run pace, getting towards the end of May now. We're down 1 against the Orioles, who are pretty good, trying to make a comeback here in the bottom of the 11th, and I've been watching some games, and I think I might have screwed us a little bit with our stadium. I've seen some balls hit like 110 off the bat into the gaps, and they're not getting out. There's a base hit by Chun into right. That means Cole Carrick's coming up, who's not getting a lot of playing time and also not making the most of it. He's batting under 100 with runners in scoring position. Now would be a good time to turn that around. Lazy pop fly into center. Runner does tag and makes it in time to tie the game. Carrick comes up clutch, although it was close. You really got to pull the ball in this stadium to have a good chance of getting it out of the park. David Fry, though, goes right back up the middle. That should win us the ball game. Shannon to throw to the plate, not even close, and the long balls stay hot. David Fry is the hero in this one, but you can see we didn't have any home runs today. That is kind of common for us at home. Hopefully we can overcome that and still break the record here. Otherwise, I may change the stadium. Right now, we're 41-18, though, so no issues there. And I did find a pretty good discovery prospect here. Second baseman Jackie Sanchez is not the build we're looking for, but does look like a good player, probably mid-B potential. And this draft class is awesome towards the top, but it's not very deep at all beyond that, so I don't know what we're going to do when it comes draft time. Well, the discovery didn't go too well, so I ended up just going ahead and scouting some actual guys in the class, and I managed to find the number 1 player, and he's a power-hitting first baseman. The only problem is we pick at 28, so probably not going to be able to get him. Shonen Heist also moved way up the board, and he looks good too, but he doesn't exactly have the power profile. However, I would be very happy to take him in the first round as well. Another potential option for us might be starting pitcher Roman Michie if he falls to our pick. Drafting and scouting is so much more fun when you have a high draft pick, that is for sure. As far as the guys currently on the team, we are unbelievable. 58-19, we are on pace to have one of the best seasons of all time. Despite that, though, and despite all the power in our lineup, we're still only on pace for 259 home runs. So if we don't accomplish it this year, I am going to change our ballpark and rebrand for next season. And if you made it this far into the video, shout out to you. I hope you can understand. I just realized that this ballpark is just way too big. Just throwing this up on the screen here for you. One of the teams we're chasing for this record is Atlanta, and they do have one of the more hitter-friendly ballparks in the majors. So I'm not going to bring us somewhere with like 10,000 feet of elevation or something like that, but I do think it's fair that I get us a little bit of an edge. Well, it's time for the MLB draft here, and I do have some exciting options in the first round, but unfortunately we pick at number 28, so I don't really expect many of these guys to be left for us. Let's just get this thing started and see what happens. And unfortunately, most of the guys that I wanted have already been taken, including a discovery guy ranked 15th, taken all the way up here at number 6. Power-hitting third baseman Ryan Belliard was taken ahead of me as well. We already do have a power-hitting third baseman. That's all right. We also lost this center fielder that I really liked here. And we lost this second baseman, Dave Shownice, who's probably going to get a batting title someday. But it's my lucky day. Marco Rivera is still here, the number 1 ranked player in the class, power-hitting first baseman. We are going with Marco. For pick 65, I'm going to grab this closing pitcher, Edgar Sanchez. I think he's going to be pretty solid overall, have decent potential. We'll go with him. Now for pick 105, I'm going to take my favorite non-discovery starter here. I don't like Damian Giles' build, but I do think he's going to have high potential, and we could definitely trade him. And now I will grab my favorite discovery starter, Travis McGaffick. I do like his build. He'll probably have mid-B potential, and he's left-handed. Sign me up. Going to go for another left-handed discovery starter here, Eduardo Jimenez, with our next pick. And I don't really have any good options for this final round here, so I'm going to just take a flyer on a 21-year-old reliever, Israel Villa. At least we got the number 1 guy in the class, but that is going to be probably a very average draft class. Let's put it that way. Now taking a look at the All-Stars this year, and I see that our starter, Derek Jones, is the number 1 starting pitcher. Look at that development this year, really improving. He's only 21, by the way. This is his 4th year in the league, 2.18 ERA. Our homegrown closer, Ronnie Baca, is playing out of his mind. 53 innings, 1.17 ERA. He's going to be up for ARB next year. I'm going to try to extend him for a few seasons. We've got David Fry coming in at third base. He is starting to regress, but he's still got good hitting stats overall. 790 OPS this year and 17 home runs at the break, a little behind schedule. Of course, Jordan and Chan are here once again for left field. I think they've been there every single year. Jordan is on schedule with 98 home runs, or excuse me, 28, not 98, 28 home runs so far at the halfway point. David Chan, though, is kind of behind schedule with only 20. So our superstar needs to pick it up a little bit, but he is continuing to develop very well. He's up to 97 overall. And that makes it 5 straight All-Stars. Obviously, Ronnie Baca is a very hot commodity here at the deadline, but no way in hell I'm going to trade him. I'm getting some really good offers. Riley Green is a guy that I like to sign, but he's starting to regress, and I don't want to take on this contract. So we are definitely going to decline this and keep moving forward with Ronnie. Now, Marco Rivera is not going to be a generational player, but as you can see, his potential range has gone up to 84 to 99, and his build keeps getting better, so we'll see what he looks like when he's done. Just excited that we were able to get somebody that I wanted in that last class. Juan Ortiz has been really good this year, and he's here in the bottom of the ninth. We're down 1 against the Padres. Now, he's definitely been better against left-handed pitching for sure, as you can see him continuing to improve those stats, but he does have 24 home runs, really good slugging, 924 OPS. That is hit into the ground. Easy play there for Machado. One guy really struggling, though, unfortunately, is Cal Raleigh. We might have to look to make a move here at the deadline. Although he still has some power, he's regressing really rapidly and is just no longer the same hitter as he once was. He's down 0-2 here pretty quickly, and he reaches for that one and swings and misses. Now, a catcher is the number 1 player on the trade block here, Edgar Quero, but I'm not overly thrilled with his build here. So let me look around the league and see if I can find somebody that's going to be a better fit, and that makes sense. The best catcher in the league right now is Francisco Alvarez, but unfortunately, I don't think I could trade for him. He's on the Mets, and they're probably our biggest rival. What I can do here, though, is trade for Ryan Jeffers, who has 2 more years left on a $12 million deal. Now, he's probably going to start to regress next year, but he's at 85 overall and does have really good contact and power against lefties, and I can get a pretty good deal for him. I'm willing to trade this closer, Enrique Castro, who's kind of just been sitting in our farm system. I did like this guy, Henry Rivas, when we drafted him for his utility and speed and overall defense, but I'm willing to give him up for Ryan Jeffers. I'll keep Cal in against righties for now, but at the very least, we can give him a break and bring in Ryan Jeffers against lefties. I'm also going to shake things up and give Rodolfo Castro another shot at shortstop against lefties because that power, contact, yeah, the defense is not as good, but we could put Bazana on the bench for now. I'm just trying anything I can to get to that home run record. The guy really holding us back right now is Christian Campbell, to be honest. He's been holding me back a little bit this whole time. Hasn't gotten to that magical 30 home run mark that we're really looking for, despite his contact and power generally improving. A lot of our former home run hitters are starting to age out a little bit, like Seager and Fry, as well as O'Neill, so this is really a tough challenge. I hope you're enjoying this video. One other thing here real quick, we've got a lot of money coming off the books next year between Seager, O'Neill, Fry, and Cal. So I want to offer contract extensions to 2 guys, Ronnie Baca, as well as, of course, Juan Ortiz. Let's start with Ortiz here and see what kind of offer he's looking for. Looks like 7 years, $85 million might get the job done. Oh man, he's not interested in a long-term deal. Well, I guess we'll have to check back in the offseason. Let me see about Baca. I've been hesitant to pay relievers any kind of money so far, but he's shown us what he's capable of this year, and he's still got room for growth. I really like that he's got that stamina. He can pitch a lot of innings. I could buy out his arbitration and 1-year free agency at 4 years, $11 million per year. Let's give it a deal. Our all-star Derek Jones just 1 out away from a complete game shutout of the Tigers. He limits walks very well, pretty simple approach from him, 4-pitch mix, pretty standard arm angle and delivery. The power of high walks per 9 will take you very far as there's a grounder to second base. Campbell handles that, and that's a complete game shutout. Just 3 hits allowed there in 9 innings, and he continues his unbelievable season, 1.98 ERA right now. And he's currently in first place for the Cy Young. I hope that holds. And we continue to have a dominant lead here in the division, although the Mets are also playing well, just 12 games back. It's August 2nd, so let's take a look at our draft picks, and Rivera came in with 93 potential. This is how a lot of my draft classes have looked here so far in this video. Have not had any unbelievable classes, but I am glad to see that Rivera is as advertised here. Great power, 58 overall at 18. It's been a lot of fun looking for guys with a power build throughout this series because normally I'm looking for contact, so good change of pace. Edgar Sanchez appears to be a very well-rounded closer here. Nothing really stands out, good or bad, just overall pretty solid with 87 potential. And I mentioned it when I drafted him, Damian Giles. I do not like his build, but he does have 89 potential, so we can definitely get a good trade from him. I'll admit I'm a little disappointed in McGaffick and Jimenez, though. I definitely expected them to have higher potential ranges. Not great here, probably more trade pieces or at least depth in the farm system. I feel like a lot of the draft classes throughout this entire video have just been really weak. There's a lot of C potential, only a few really good picks in every single class. Sam Irizarry was the center fielder that I wanted. He's coming in at 65 overall with 95 potential. Would not have been able to get him in the first round, but just as I flip through, you can see there's really very few late round gems. This guy's 44 overall. This guy's a reliever. Despite a few duds, I think I made the most of this class. Speeding through the rest of the season, and we're not going to get the home run record this year, but at the very least, we are by far the best team in the league, so we should have a good chance at winning a World Series. The Longballs came onto the scene 7 years ago, and now we are really a dominant force in the league as we finish this last series in Milwaukee, taking 2 of 3, and we end with 113 wins on the season. Once again, we're first in the home run rankings with 291. We actually got pretty close. Yordan with 48 and Juan Ortiz with 47. Great to see this season from Yordan, as he also improved a lot against lefties, adding 9 power. That's going to bode very well going forward. But Juan Ortiz is definitely the main story here. Look at this development. His power versus right has almost matched his power versus left, and he's added so much contact and the rest of his plate skills. This might be one of the best rookie year developments I've ever seen out of a player. And rightfully so, because he played 141 games, 47 home runs, 111 RBIs, and almost a 1. OPS in his first season. He is going to be getting a massive extension after the end of this year. Another great season for our generational talent, David Chan, continues to be the face of the franchise, although Juan Ortiz might be coming for that throne here. 868 OPS for Chan with 5.2 WAR. Fry with 34, O'Neal with 28, Campbell with 21. He did take a step forward, but he's still not getting to that 30 number that we really need for each of our starting players. This is going to be the last season for Seager and Raleigh on the team. They finished with 17 and 16. We're going to have to find somebody to replace Raleigh for sure. But I am happy with Michael Harris, 18 homers in center field. I think we've learned throughout this video that that is pretty good for that position. 775 OPS, I think that's a career high, 5.3 WAR as well. We will have Jeffers for next year at catcher, but I'm tempted to get somebody who can hit righties a little better as well. So we fall about 20 home runs short here, which is disappointing, but look at how good this team is. I mean, the Longballs have come a long way from the very beginning of this video. But it doesn't stop there, because we were also dominant on the pitching side. Ronnie Baca was incredible. 76 innings, which is surprisingly a career low, but a career best ERA. I think this contract extension is going to work out really well. Schuster was excellent. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but I extended him for a couple more years after the season. 2.43 ERA. Really, the whole bullpen was incredible. And then you've got Derek Jones, who just dominated in his age 21 season. He got 206 innings, sub 3 ERA. That's incredible. And I'm glad to see Phil Bentley up to 86 overall, and he had an excellent year as well. 183 innings with a 2.9 ERA. Reminder, this is the guy that I extended. I think that's going to work out well. And really, nobody was bad. I mean, we had nobody over a 4 ERA. This is an incredible pitching staff. And it should go without saying that we were the best staff in the league, although I'm impressed at how close the Padres got to us. I haven't even gotten to the most exciting part of this team yet, as we have got some awards. And Christian Scott has won a Cy Young. And in his rookie year, Juan Ortiz has won a Hank Aaron Award. And he's also, of course, won the Rookie of the Year. Very well deserved. And then Yordan got an MVP. We swept pretty much all the biggest awards. In fact, Juan Ortiz was also right behind Yordan for that MVP. If he just had more RBI, he's right there. The core of Alvarez, Ortiz, and Chan, I would put those three up against anybody in the league. Xavier Curry with another great performance as our closer, coming in second for Reliever of the Year. Parnell coming in second for Rookie of the Year. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time looking at the stats. I feel like that might not be the most fun for the viewer, but I can't help it. This team is so exciting. But let's turn our attention back to the most important thing, which is the playoffs. And we are in the top right of the bracket there. We'll be facing either the Mets or the Dodgers. The Mets knocked us out last time. I can't remember if we faced the Dodgers or not. This video's gone on for a while. We don't need to worry about chasing a home run record in the postseason, so I've adjusted the lineup a little bit to get us the best starting 9 that we can. Bazana's going to be our starting shortstop, with Seager on the bench. His defense and speed is just too low at this point, so he'll kind of be our veteran presence. I also moved Juan Ortiz up in the order after that unbelievable season, and then against lefties, again, Juan Ortiz is up here pretty high. Chan's up there as well. Let me actually switch those two. I think Ortiz is a little better against lefties. Harris, Campbell, and Bazana here at the bottom. And by the way, Tyler O'Neill has been leading off for us against lefties, because look at this on-base percentage. I've had him in the leadoff spot here against lefties the entire time we've had him. 370, 362. Here's our rotation with Bentley as our ace, Scott the Cy Young winner as the second starter here, Carballo and Jones. I am certain that we've got the best starting 4 in the playoffs. We've got a few guys here in long relief. Lionel Parnell is moving over here for the postseason. And then everything else should be the same with Curry as our closer. Back-to-back seasons in that role, I feel very comfortable with him there for the playoffs. And we're going to be taking on the Mets. This is a revenge series, and Game 1 is a revenge game as we take on Espinosa. Now, if you remember Espinosa from last year, this is the guy that I said I would love to have on our team. He's got the exact build that I'm looking for, and he had another great season. So we will be trusting Phil Bentley to go toe-to-toe here as we open up this series at home. The Mets lineup is good, but I definitely give us the advantage here. The Mets' best hitter is, of course, still Juan Soto. This is going to be a key matchup for us as Bentley strikes him out. Here is Espinosa. I'd say he's one of our biggest nemesis. Nemesis? I don't know. I do think our lineup is a lot better against lefties now, though, so I hope we can put up a decent came not a good start. And one of our best guys against lefties is David Fry, who rips one into the right field corner. First career postseason at bat for Rookie of the Year Juan Ortiz is a strikeout. And Alvarez gets the Metros on the board with a 2-run shot in the first. I thought about trying to get him and traded for him, but I wasn't willing to do that. Trying to answer back quickly, we've got 2 on with nobody out in the second. Michael Harris, though, with a lazy fly ball into left. 1 out and a 1-2 to Campbell, and he strikes out. Now with 2 down, it's up to Travis Bazzana, who also strikes out. What was that swing? We have got to be more competitive with our at-bats than that for sure if we're going to win this game and this series. Jordan, that's a fair ball, and it'll bring a run home. Sneaks that one up the line, and we cut the lead in half. Fry hit it hard in his first at-bat, but this time he strikes out. 3-2 to Ortiz. He draws a walk. We saw a lot of improvement in his plate discipline throughout this season, and that'll bring up David Chon with 2 on. Chon with a ground ball. That's deja vu. Another one fair down the third base line. With that RBI single, he ties up the game. We tied things up, but in the very next half inning, the Mets are cooking again. Bentley's had to work very hard. The Louisville bullpen is already up and moving here in the top of the 4th, as luckily Reynolds is going to fly out to center. Just shy of the warning track, Harris makes the catch, 2 down. And now Aiden Miller is also going to fly out into left, so Bentley gets out of it. Espinosa's also been working hard today, as this is pitch number 81, and it's a walk to O'Neill. The sooner we can knock him out of this game, the better, but he strikes out Jordan. And coach pulls the trigger as Parnell's going to come in for a long relief. He's gotten the first 2 outs, and now we've got Soto lefty-lefty, although Soto can hit pretty much anybody. And just right on cue, he smokes that, but bad aim. It's right to Harris. But thankfully, the Mets are also going into their bullpen for Griff Brandon. 6th rounder from 2025, high walks per 9 and high home runs per 9. And it looks like this is his major league debut. This is a huge opportunity for us to take a lead. Brandon downhill with a 2-2 pitch to Ortiz, who reaches for that cutter. With Brandon coming in, Chon gets to face a righty, which is his better side. And he lines one into right field. That should be extra bases. We need to take advantage of this opportunity as Jeffers smokes one. No doubter into left. It's 5-2. The trade deadline pickup making an impact right away in the postseason. With that rookie reliever coming in, we can smell blood in the water. And the bullpen has been excellent today, and we're just 1 out away as Curry looks for the save. Payoff pitch on the way. And there we go! A great pitching performance and a 3-run home run by Ryan Jeffers gives us an early series lead. Cy Young winner Christian Scott takes the mound in Game 2, which we win 5-4, and so we head to New York for a chance to complete a sweep. But in order to do that, we will have to outmatch Garrett Crochet. Crochet is an absolute flamethrower, and on top of that, he's got the homebody quirk, which means he plays better at home. Needless to say, we're going to have our work cut out for us as he strikes out Tyler O'Neill to start this game. Crochet's not the only flamethrower pitching today, as we've got Carlos Caraballo on the mound. He's now up to 85 overall, but he's got 99 velocity, and I mentioned before his 4-seam and cutter can get up to 100 miles per hour. You get to see how these players develop when you watch these long-form videos. We drafted this guy all the way back in round 2 of the very first season. And here's a 2-2 to Zach Geloff, which is ripped to third, but Ortiz has got. David Chon! Woo! See ya, second deck! I love his celly too, that little clap of the hands. Just like, my work here is done. We could really break things open here at the top of the third as we've got the top of our lineup coming up with 2 on and nobody out. And Jordan does exactly that, another no-doubter. The Longballs have found their power stroke today. And against an elite pitcher, no less, another one over 440. David Fry goes back-to-back with a solo shot and we're up 5-0. And just like that, we've knocked Crochet out of the game after only 3 innings. Our offense is not the only thing on fire today, as Caraballo has not given up a run so far through 6 innings, although I just jinxed him. Chon misses the cutoff man and 2 runs come home for the Metros. With runners on the corners, Caraballo is going to remain in this game. Dangerous hitter at the plate in Francisco Alvarez, but we get him to fly out to David Chon. But we get those runs right back as Juan Ortiz hits a 2-run shot. And now Jose Hernandez is coming in to get the final out. 2-2 pitch to Zach Geloff, and there is strike 3. A dominant series for the Longballs as we get our revenge and advance to the NLCS. And in the NLCS, we'll be taking on the Padres, who we've defeated before in the postseason. Let's simulate a couple games here. We win Game 1, and in Game 2, we're down by 1 in extra innings. And that'll bring up Juan Ortiz. He's certainly got the power to walk this game off as he hits that high and deep into left, back to the track, to the wall, and it's good! Juan Ortiz with a walk-off in Game 2 of the NLCS. What a moment! Maybe the best in long ball history. 0-2 pitch, heater up and in, and Ortiz turns on it. He hit that about 150 feet in the air. It gets out of camera view. It looked closer in real time, but there was no chance that Carlson was going to rob that one. After that unbelievable walk-off in Game 2, we win Game 3, and now we're trying to close this thing out in Game 4. If Curry can complete the save, we head to the World Series for the first time. In back-to-back seasons, he's been a dominant closer as there is one out. He just struck out Anthony Russell, who was the Rookie of the Year in 2029. And this guy had 35 home runs this year with an .876 OPS. That's a good start, but it doesn't get any easier as DeVries comes to the plate. In real life, he projects as a future superstar, but in this game, he goes down looking. And now the final boss, Vladdy Jr. The script is coming through. This is cinema right here. Vladdy Jr. stands in the way of our postseason run. He flies that out into right. Chan hunting it down in foul territory, gets under it, and the Longballs are going to the World Series. 7 postseason games, 7 straight wins. And we are 2031 NL champs. We carry our regular season success right into the postseason, and now we await the winner of the Mariners or the Twins. And as I simulate ahead, it looks like it will be the Twins. Here we are, after 7 years, we find ourselves in the World Series. And our ace, Phil Bentley, walks up to the mound. It's been a hell of a run so far in the postseason. Let's keep this going and win a title. The Twins are headlined by Elly De La Cruz, who's 29 and 95 overall. As you would expect, he's been excellent at the plate throughout this simulation window. Besides him, Minnesota also has Kyle Tucker, who has now regressed down to 79 overall. And as far as the Twins rotation, that includes Andrew Painter, who's 87 overall and had a pretty good year. I don't want to be overconfident, but I feel very good about our chances in this series as Bentley strikes out De La Cruz. Our talisman player, David Chan, taking his first at-bat in the World Series, and he gets a base hit through the right side. All the way up in the 4 spot today is Travis Bazzana, but he goes down swinging. Here's David Chan in the bottom of the 3rd with 1 out. And he's going to crowd it through the right side for another single. Last time he was left stranded, and this time he's going to go for second, and he's in there. He is a 5-tool player after all. There you see the wheels for Chan hustling in for a stolen base. Can Campbell drive him in? He cannot. How about Bazzana? Yes, maybe. That's through the left side. There's going to be a play at the plate. 1 hop home. It's in time. Elly leads off the top of the 4th with a triple. And with that base hit through the right side by Kyle Tucker, they strike first. And now a ground ball base hit up the middle from Jonah Bride. That's going to double the lead. Not exactly how we wanted to start things up as Bentley gets touched up for a 2-run shot. And now we're behind the 8 ball, but O'Neill does get us on the board. And Parnell once again has to relieve Bentley. It wouldn't end there though, as Romo, the catcher, now hits a 2-run shot. It's 6-1 Minnesota. Christian Campbell is going to fly out into right, but that will bring a 2nd run home for us. We're going to need a lot more than that if we're going to make this comeback, and it's not looking good. Jose Budo, for his 2nd inning of work, shuts us down, and the Twins take Game 1 8-2. I'm very surprised with that outcome, but our streak did have to end at some point. I lost another clip here, but I did simulate a few games, and it put the series at 2-2, so we're going to pick it up in Game 5, trying to separate from the Twins. This is an absolutely enormous game today. Game 5 of this series, the winner will have 2 chances to win a title. And we've got the same matchup as Game 1, it's Painter versus Brantley. Painter, more of a strikeout pitcher, he's been great in the postseason so far, and he strikes out Chan right on cue. On the other hand, Phil Bentley has yet to have a good start. He's needed a long reliever to save the game in all of his starts so far in the postseason, but he has a clean first inning. And the Longballs do strike first here in the 2nd, it's 1-0. And so far, Bentley's throwing a no-hitter through 3. 2 on here with 1 out in the top of the 4th. David Fry at the plate, and Fry grounds that to second. That might be a double play. Ellie's got a good arm, and it is. So we're not able to capitalize there, and now it's the second time through the order for Bentley, and he gives up a triple to De La Cruz, but gets out of that inning. Christian Campbell with a 2-run shot. It's now 3-0, and Painter is out of the game. And Bentley's still going strong, not giving up any runs through 6. David Sean at the plate. I will take all the insurance we can get, but he swings at a pitch that hits him. And now here is Campbell, who homered earlier, but he also strikes out. Just 9 more outs to get today. Bentley is still on the mound with a decent amount of stamina, but gives up back-to-back singles, and 2 runs come home. He's relieved for Hernandez. I would really like to get some more insurance. Tyler O'Neill. Way back into left. Almost to the third deck. That is a swing for the history books. The bullpen has been solid, and just like that, we're 1 strike away from winning this game, and there it is. Thanks to Tyler O'Neill's 3-run shot, we've got a great chance to win a title. And the Twins starter Ryan Nelson's had a great postseason, but I have got a lot of faith in our guy, Christian Scott, to bring it home. And the great thing is we'll have 2 chances to do it in front of our home crowd. Coming off of a Cy Young season, this is the biggest start of Scott's career. He's going to get the first out, a grounder from Roger Kang. 1 down, 26 more to go. Are we going to be able to shut down Ellie today? Here's Scott with a strikeout. And we'll have to find a way to stop Nelson, who's been dominating everybody he's faced. Jordan, that's smoked, but right to center field. As you can see, the top 3 in our lineup have been very hot, as well as Ortiz and O'Neill. It's a cold night in Louisville. It's going to take a lot of power to get one out of this ballpark. We might have to rely on some small ball today. Not exactly the typical way we get things done, as now we're striking out. Kyle Tucker's regressed a lot, but he's definitely not somebody I want to see in big games, but that's a great pitch from Scott. He struck out 3 of the first 4 batters in Game 6. Emmanuel Rodriguez, though, breaks that up with some good contact into the right field corner. That's going to be extra bases. First test today for Scott with a runner in scoring position, but there's 2 outs. His fastball's been electric so far through the first 2 innings, but it's the splitter that strikes out Canzone. Who is going to step up today? Juan Ortiz draws a walk. Maybe it'll be Tyler O'Neill, who had that incredible home run in yesterday's game, but that's back-to-back walks. In steps David Fry with 2 on, and he's going to ground that back to Nelson. Ellie's going to make that throw, and we don't get any runs there. That's a big opportunity missed as Christian Scott steps in for the 3rd and puts up another 0. However, the long balls are getting no hit until a couple of singles from Campbell and Bazana. We've already seen Ortiz come up huge once in the postseason, and that's drilled deep into left center, way back there, and good! Juan Ortiz, are you kidding me? Just a beautiful swing, catching that out in front. Way out of here. That is a long way to go to left center. Our pitching staff has been incredible today, not giving up a run through 8 innings. And now we're just 3 outs away from a World Series title. 3-2 pitch here to Ellie De La Cruz. That's a walk. This game is not over yet as Kyle Tucker steps in, but that might be a double play, and it is! David Fry with a beautiful play. 7 years after joining the major leagues, Louisville is 1 out away from a World Series title. Jose Hernandez delivers a 2-2, and Louisville's gonna lift the trophy! A dominant playoff run culminates in the first World Series in franchise history. Christian Scott and the bullpen shut down the Twins in Game 6, and coach is going to lift the trophy. The Longballs are world champions. David Sean is your World Series MVP, our franchise player. That is very much to the script, and he is also the postseason MVP with a .412 batting average, 5 home runs, and 8 RBI, but I do think that Juan Ortiz had the most memorable moments. We slowly climbed our way up throughout this video, and we finally done it after a 113-win season. We bring home the title. Now, normally, this video would end here, but we still have another goal to accomplish. That's right, we still need to hit 308 home runs. I think our best so far is 290. I've got to hire some new coaches, but first we're going to do a little bit of rebranding. I'm going to move through this offseason and this next season very quickly, so try to keep up. We're really just trying to hit home runs. We don't need to win anymore, but we'll probably get that as a byproduct because our roster and especially our pitching staff is unbelievable. I've got some holes to fill in the lineup, but we still have our main core of Alvarez, Chan, and Ortiz. We've also got a lot cleaner balance sheet now after losing some of our older guys and a ton of money to work with. Alrighty, off-season all set. Here is a look at our lineup for next year. Pretty similar, only a couple of changes. The new guys that I brought in are Anthony Russell, who I traded for. Absolutely no defense at all, but amazing plate skills. He can hit over 30 home runs. He will be playing right field, if you want to call it that. He might be just standing out there. And then we signed Kyle Teal to hit against righties and catch. And then we've got Ryan Jeffers as the platoon option against lefties, who's already starting to regress. Brought up rookie Luis Rodriguez, who we've been waiting for, first baseman here. Lots of power. Again, no defense, doesn't matter. I signed a couple bench guys, and then I signed 40-year-old Mike Trout for the hell of it to try to give him a World Series ring. Here is our rotation, pretty much the same as last year, but we do have a new rookie coming up, Kazuhito Oka. Can't forget this guy with his name. It took him a while to get ready for the majors, but he is definitely ready now. And then we've got a rookie left-hander here, William Ham, coming up. We drafted him in round 4, and our closer this year is going to be Ronnie Baca. Welcome to opening day. I believe this is 2032, and we are in a new location. That is right, we are no longer the Louisville Longballs. We are the Long Beach Longballs. Kind of a crappy afternoon here as Phil Bentley takes the mound. It's supposed to be sunny out here in this beautiful location. We've got a new stadium on the beach, and I'm hoping it's a little bit smaller. The last one was just too big. I don't know if we were ever going to hit 308 home runs. Now, I mentioned before we're going to go through this season really quickly. We are just trying to go for that home run record. I might try to stop into a few games, and as we get close, of course, I'll be counting it down. And the first home run of the year goes to a newcomer, Russell. Juan Ortiz is projected to be our best hitter this year. I'm really impressed by that. He made great strides to his contact and vision and discipline. Amazed that he is ranked ahead of David Chan, who of course is generational, but we will see how that plays out. Who is going to get the most home runs? That's what I care about the most. I also edited our uniforms a little bit. The other ones were just too bold. I got us into all monochrome here with some pinstripes. The Longballs might be a recurring team here on the channel for a while going forward, so got to get the branding a little bit better. I think that for MLB The Show 26, I will do a similar series if there's lots of support here, which I hope there will be. Here's a look at Anthony Russell, who cracked the seal with our first home run of the year, and now when I go to watch him, he strikes out. And now here is the rookie first baseman, Luis Rodriguez. He is 1 for 1 today. Very upright batting stance here, and he goes down looking. Now at this point in the rebuild, a lot of time has passed, and we are not only the best team in the league, but we also have by far the best farm system. I think there's 16 prospects in the top 100. And that surprises me because I really have not been hoarding prospects or making that many trades for prospects. I've pretty much been going all in every single year, as you've seen. At least, Rodriguez, first home run of the career right there. I've pretty much been going all in every single year, as you have probably seen, at least after year 2 or 3, once we had some more money to do so, because like I mentioned way back then, power is very expensive. And as I've been talking here, I didn't even realize that Phil Bentley is going for a complete game shutout on opening day. He is just 1 out away from accomplishing that. It's really turned into a great pitcher. That's why I gave him that long-term extension, and that is jammed, and we are going to win opening day. I will probably see you around the All-Star break. Well, this team is absolutely disgusting at this point. We are 63-25 just 1 week from the draft, and if we take a look at these statistics here, we are currently at 177 home runs, and we are 88 games into the year. We're on pace for 326. I would say outside of the addition of Juan Ortiz, this is a pretty similar level lineup in terms of power that we've had for most of the rebuild. So I really do think the ballpark played a big factor, and I'm glad to have made the move because it looks like we're going to be able to accomplish this goal finally. Jordan is leading the way with 32. He's having an MVP season so far with an over 1 OPS, and the other guy right behind him is Anthony Russell, who we traded for in the outfield. He's actually playing even better than Jordan, and I see that Juan Ortiz continues to improve at an unbelievable rate. This guy's all the way up to 91 overall, which I believe is his max potential, just at 25 years old here, only in his second year in the league. David Chan's right there with 22. Luis Rodriguez, our rookie prospect, is there at 16. He is also improving nicely on the offensive side. And the rest of the guys are doing their part for the most part. Mike Trout has not gotten any at-bats, but he is hanging out on the bench. Now, the lineup is disgusting, but so is the starting rotation, and all of these guys are guys that I scouted and drafted here. Derek Jones is on fire, 1.81 ERA, and he's got a .77 whip right now. Parnell's pitching great, Caraballo's right there, Oka, the rookie, is pitching very well, and then actually our worst pitcher has been Phil Bentley, who I still believe in, of course, and it's funny that he's the one that I decided to extend. He had that one great year with the 2.90 ERA, but outside of that, not as good as I expected. Our bullpen's been pretty good too. Christian Scott's been solid as always. And then we've got 3 closers in the majors right now. William Hamm is the rookie, and he's actually been the best out of all of them. We've got a ton of all-stars this year. There are 4 just in the starting lineup that you can see on the screen right there. Derek Jones, of course, is there for a starter. He's probably going to win the Cy Young if he keeps this pace up. He's 12-0 right now with a 1.77 ERA. Juan Ortiz voted in for third base. He's up to 28 home runs and 84 RBI. I think it's been the case every single year in this video. Alvarez and Chan are both voted in for left field. And for right field, we've got Anthony Russell, who I mentioned has been absolutely nuts this year. He's actually been our best player. We never got to see Ken Stokes in this video, going all the way back to the very first season. Sometimes these guys that you pick that have super low overalls, even though they have high potential, they just never quite develop. So I'm going to go ahead and trade him. The White Sox had a really good player on the trading block here, right fielder Braden Mendez. The reason I'm doing this is because if I do have to go to another season, the center fielder that I just drafted to replace Michael Harris was one of the guys that was injured. So we're going to need somebody to fill that position, and I think Mendez can do that very well. All right, it's September 1st. We are 139 games into the season right now. We are 139, absolutely steamrolling the competition right now. And taking a look at the home runs, we're at 260, which puts us on pace for 303. We're now below the number we need. This is going to get really, really close in the final few games. Okay, you ready for this? 2 games left in the season. Taking a look at the team rankings, we have passed the 300 mark for the first time, and we are at 305. And in what I can only describe as the most poetic ending possible for this video, the final series of the year is against Atlanta. We're at home, second to last game of the season. We need 2 home runs to tie, 3 home runs to set a new record. Bazada's got 18 on the season. I was hoping for a little bit more, but shortstop is a tough position to get a lot of home runs at. Kyle Teal's done pretty well this year. He's got 20 home runs. Very happy with that. He's not even started every single game at catcher. Good contact here. That's not quite going to go. I'm not getting nervous yet, but we have not hit one so far through 4 innings. There's still a lot of time left and a whole other game in the season. But as each guy comes and goes, it gets that little bit tougher. Harris strikes out. David Chan's been arguably the best player in the league this season, but he is going to fly out. Braves finally do go to their bullpen. And Christian Campbell, that's out into right. Get up. It won't. I'd like to get at least 1 today to make our job easier for tomorrow, that is for sure. Not looking good as we've only got 5 more outs to go, and Jordan's reaching for that one. 2-2 to Juan Ortiz, and there we go. Stay fair. Stay fair. Just inside the foul pole. There's number 306. 1 away from the tie, 2 from the all-time record. Unless the Braves tie it up here, we are not going to see a bottom of the 9th, and we'll have to try to get it done tomorrow. Michael Judd is in, and he closes things down. That is our 116th win on the season. And it's right here in front of us. 306. Can we get 2 home runs today? Wouldn't want it any other way. This is cinema right here. Last game of the year, we need 2 home runs. And our matchup today is against Noah Schultz, a real-life prospect, very tall left-hander, 6'9", 73 home runs per 9, and he had a pretty good season, although the whip is very high. The table is set. Jordan leading off with a ground out to first. Our top 3 in the order, Jordan, Ortiz, and Chan, have all had MVP-level seasons. It might actually be a clean sweep for the Longballs when we take a look at the awards. They might be the 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure who's got it right now. Ortiz, another grounder to first. David Chan is leading the team in OPS, but he's not leading any of the counting stats of home runs or RBI, so I don't know if it's going to be him, actually. And that's 3 groundouts to start this game. Do not sleep on Anthony Russell either. He had 39 home runs this year. Great trade. He's surpassed my expectations by a lot. And that's 4 grounders in a row. Guys, we got to lift it. Ryan Jeffers did not have a great year and did not get a lot of playing time either, but he is starting today. That's another ground out. As every out goes by, the tension builds up just that little bit more. Michael Harris, stay fair. That's right down the line. And it's fair. Not the most likely guy to do it, but there is number 307, Michael Harris. And as he touches home plate, we have tied the all-time home run record. And so here we are, just one home run away. David Chon at the plate. David Chon, that is well struck. God, it'd be perfect if he was the one to do it. That would be just the beautiful script coming all together. Bottom of the fifth now, one out. Here is Jordan at the plate. He's going to ground one up the middle. That's going to extend our lead, but we need to get this in the air. This is a game I would not mind losing so that we can get the bottom of the ninth as well. So Juan Ortiz steps in, bottom of the seventh. Here's a 2-2. Oh, not a good swing. Come on, David Chon. This is your moment. David Chon! He's done it! 308 to the beach! 470! No way! The Longballs franchise player. Been here since day one. Turns on that one. 470 left center. Knew it off the bat. That was getting close there. We were getting towards the end of this game. I could not have asked for a better ending. And we go on to defeat the Braves here, 4-3. But win or lose, that did not matter to me. The only thing I cared about there is what you're seeing right now, 308 home runs. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? David Chon does it too. I mean, you can't draw it up any better. Just incredible. There is a new leader in the all-time history books. The Louisville Longballs are the most powerful team of all time. And I've got a feeling we're about to sweep a ton of awards right here just quickly at the end of this video. Derek Jones just won a Cy Young. David Chon with the Hank Aaron. Luis Rodriguez with the Rookie of the Year. Juan Ortiz got the MVP, and we had a clean sweep. Ortiz, Chon, Alvarez. Yeah, we're definitely the most powerful team of all time. I have to say that Juan Ortiz is probably my favorite prospect that I've drafted in a long time. You know, to not be a generational talent and to have stats like this, I think he had 89 potential when I drafted him. And look at how much he got past his ceiling, up to 93. Insane. Gotta shout out David Chon here. I cannot believe that he's only 25 years old. I feel like we've had him forever. I thought he'd be like 30 by now. He had about 40 home runs every season. Final totals for him, 234 throughout this video. Definitely would not have been able to accomplish this without Jordan Alvarez. He's just beginning to regress, but he put up massive numbers the last two seasons, career high this year. And not only did we sweep the MVP, we swept the Cy Young. I was not kidding back into earlier in this video saying I was developing probably the best pitching farm system of all time. Look at Derek Jones, 17-0 this year. 206.1 innings again, 2.18 ERA. Lionel Purnell's right there with him. He's only 83 overall too. And then Carlos Caraballo, this guy, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but I did sign him long-term as well if we needed to go out for a while. This pitching staff is insane. Don almost got himself a batting title, but a 33-year-old Juan Soto managed to steal the crown. In this final season, we had the top 4 home run hitters. Jordan, Ortiz, Chon, and then Anthony Russell, who I traded for. That worked out very well. This is a lot harder than it looks. I mean, can you imagine trying to do this in real life? This is a video game, and it was very difficult to get to the number. Just for fun, let's go ahead and simulate our way through the postseason. We take on the Mets here, and we go ahead and win the division series. Now taking on the Giants, we win the first 2, and now we lose 2 in a row. It's 3-2 in the series. Decisive Game 6 here, we lose. Go into a Game 7 in the CS, and we win. Headed back to the World Series. Taking on the Red Sox here. Game 1, we win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we win. Looking for the sweep, and we've done it. Back-to-back World Series, and you know what this means. That is correct. 40-year-old Mike Trout is now a World Series champion. The Longballs have really got themselves on the map here, and of course, we've got the home run record. So that is going to do it for this video. This took a really long time to make. I've been filming this over the course of like 3 weeks, so I hope you enjoyed it. I really appreciate the support I've gotten lately. It means a lot to me. I've been having a lot of fun doing this, and there's so much more to come. Please drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment if you made it all the way to the end here. That is going to be it for today. The Longballs, I expect, will be back at some point, though. So keep your eyes out. And that's all. Peace.